Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they're kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fan. That's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm your host, James Boyd. And also, we're here with Rich, of course. Rich, let's see if we can hear you this time.
So, I have arrived. I have been watching these white folks wear kente cloth all day, and I'm making sure that I am going to go ahead and order myself some just, to have at this point.
Ironic kente cloth. Okay, so I am right now, I can actually see your audio here, which is good because, I checked it beforehand, it was working, and then it stopped. When we started recording the first 5 minutes of the show, it didn't work, which makes no damn sense. What's the point of having presets saved if they don't preset and save? Anyway, I guess we're gonna have to do the kente cloth joke and gag all over again. Yeah, man. So I don't even know. I thought we were talking about well-meaning white people. Yeah, that's what it was. And in the growing pains of this, even as a black person, of the things you learn when in school or just in life up to a certain age, and then once you get out of high school, the things you're gonna have to learn on your own, as your social network kind of expands, there's gonna be growing pains. That's just life, and because of this country and segregation and the with people's social networks, those things are going to happen to you even while you're well-meaning, and you're going to trip and you're going to stumble and whatnot, and you're going to make mistakes. And the thing is not to take it too hard and not be discouraged and continue towards the path of learning. And that is what has taken place with this kente cloth, because I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know who told them to do this. I understand the national or the Congressional Black Caucus, they rock kente cloth at times. I don't know how often, but for the rest of the establishment Democrats to come out with the kente cloth on, and they took a knee, and Nancy Pelosi got the joint on, it looked real. It looked real AME church in there. It real Pan-African in there. So
Nancy Pelosi, I don't know if she dressed herself, but she picked the right color to go with it. It was kind of fly, on her. I'm upset somebody didn't go all out. Why they didn't wear the hat?
Why didn't they wear the kufi?
Yes, why didn't they wear the kufi?
I think somebody might have been no, that's too far. I want to know who the person that said that's too far. I saw on Twitter somebody had a tuxedo and the jacket was kente cloth, and they said like this is what they was really gonna wear, and I was like, yo, this is wild.
Yeah, I think I saw that one too.
Yeah, it was like kente cloth tux jacket with like with black lapels. Anyway, yeah, man, that's you know, they get drugged for it, but whatever. Like,
hey, that's part of it. Like if you want to, like, you know, stand in solidarity and all that, you gonna have to get these jokes.
Yeah. What I will say though is, like, I wonder if there was some type of communication between the Congressional Black Caucus and them, and then I want to know, like, if they never said anything, they're just gonna do it, which is always a bad idea, or they asked and then somebody was being slick and wonder if they was really gonna do it, and then they did, and all of a sudden they turn on C-SPAN and we're like, oh my god, look at them.
Look, man. I refuse to believe there's not at least one member of the CBC that ain't laughing. Like, you know, that went home for the day and be like, look what we got these people to do.
Dude, speaking of that, what do you think Kamala Harris's email looks like today? Not on a normal day, today. Man.
A lot of asking for permission, a lot of, you know, check this out, a lot of
but no, because she was in the kente cloth. Do you think they asked Kamala? And she was like,
nah.
Yeah. Let's do it.
I don't know, man. Like, because she's kind of younger, but I don't know. She's so, like, she's got roots in politics now, so it ain't like it's like someone's like AOC's age or something like that, right? It ain't like that where, hey, they brought me or you out there, we'd be like, hey, y'all gonna get clowned if y'all do this.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like, I want nothing to do with politics, but like I think that there is some value in having enough black people around you, and I obviously, like, I don't want to turn this into you need to have enough black people around you, politicians and companies, so that, like, you don't commit a racism, but it does help to have people around you and you share their ideas and you communicate with them so that you can have an idea of, like, how the other side looks at it without necessarily and have an idea of how the other side will receive, as opposed to feeling like you just need people to give you a quick yes or no and you can hang up on them, move on with your day. Like, it's so weird. Like, I don't see where the learning is, because this in this case, or in general, but in this one, it's like, this is one you're gonna get dunked on, and like, I really don't know where to go from here. Like, but so it was a funny one.
If y'all find any good, you know, politician kente cloth memes, make sure y'all put those in the One Nation Radio Discord channel so we can all laugh together as a family. You know, y'all the listeners and us the hosts, because, like, these jokes deserve to be had. They deserve to be shared.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I don't. Anything else that popped up for you that you thought was funny or interesting over the past week?
I've been introduced to the concept of defunding the police this week.
Interesting.
Like, you know, as much as I'm kind of, you know, in tune with it, but I just hadn't really got on that. Like, that's been like a new thing that I've seen, and I'm like, quite an interesting concept here.
I think the part that, like, making people freak out, because it's like, once you say defund the police, they mean, like, are you saying just get rid of them, like, all together? And it's like, no, of course not, you fucking moron. Like, no, like, some people need to go to jail. Get the fuck out of here. But, like, I think,
like, just move some of that money around.
Yeah, it's like, look, some of these police departments are overbearing, and they are not working in good faith with the idea of their with getting funded by our tax dollars to protect and serve. Well, and also there's a lot of situations that policemen are tasked with that they are ill-equipped and ill-prepared for, right? Like, just for example, like mental health, for example. Like, police officers are rarely trained to handle, like, de-escalation with people that may potentially have mental health issues. And you throw that in with the amount of people from the neighborhoods they patrol that are poorly cared for as far as health or mental health, and like that sounds like a recipe for disaster for me, don't you think? So if you give a smaller budget of taxpayer dollars to the police departments and start something else up in order to be a branch in between, an exit ramp between police on foot in nothing, then I think that would stop some of this. It's a step from a policy standpoint. So that's just one
kind of a way to just hit. Yeah, it's kind of a way to just hit back at the cops a little bit. I won't pretend to be an expert in it because I've just like kind of stumbled upon the concept, but I'm like, all right, let's find a way to kind of hit back at them. Like, let's hit them in the pocket and be like, hey, we gonna go ahead and tighten up some of this funding.
Well, as far as that part, as far as like lowering some of that stuff, as far as what's going on in the streets right now, it is like, well, if we stop giving some of this military equipment that is out of quote unquote obsolete for the military and giving it to police departments, then yeah, maybe just maybe it wouldn't be so bad, and maybe just maybe like we don't need to have a defense fund that is like as big as like 2 through whatever number of countries in the world as far as defense spending, like. The biggest stick thing has always been a problem in this country, and it's always been used as an excuse to like avoid trying to, for lack of a better word, like build a middle class for black people in general, or people of color in the rest of the country in general. So we were omitted from that after World War II, when the GI Bill like basically backed all these loans or down payments and loans for houses for people. We never got that. That's part of the reason. That's part of, a lot of people's cases for reparations. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Maybe you want to type that into your Google. Anyway, but yeah, it's just it's a lot of ideas. Like, I'm not saying that I'm 100% for it. Like, I have to look. Obviously, there are unintended consequences to anything that quote unquote radical. But it's something worth looking into.
Yeah, like at this point, like I hate to use the phrase, it's like, what do we have to lose?
Oh, God.
Like. Oh, that's an all-timer. Yeah, but I guess we should go on to
like, it's funny that like that was Trump's like call out for black people to vote for him. What do you have to lose? And like the answer is now your life, motherfucker, your life, my life. If you don't take your ass on with that bullshit.
This man came out here and said George Floyd would be happy about the unemployment. He said something. He said something ridiculous like that last week. He said it's a good day for Americans. Like like George Floyd would look down and be happy or something like that. And I was like, so you telling me that George Floyd would be happy to see the unemployment rate go down?
Hey, Rich.
But as opposed to being alive.
Rich, how often do you think the average American thinks about the unemployment rate?
They don't, because the numbers are fake. That's why.
Besides, yeah, that too. Yeah. Like, the average person doesn't give a flying fuck about the macro of the national economy. Sorry. Like, the average American does not give a flying fuck about the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones.
Yeah, Lynn McMahon was on Twitter.
Oh, God.
Just jumped out of nowhere. And I think it was like radio silence, like on that. But in some ways, that's like, it's a real tough position for the WWE wrestlers, because they got off on like Gunner real quick, but it's a whole new kind of level. When you're talking about the McMahons
and potentially fucking up your push / your bread. Yeah.
Correct. So there's got to be somebody in there that be like, yo, y'all say y'all with us, or y'all say, this is what you care about. How much do you really care about it? There's got to be somebody there.
Well, one thing is, like, you're asking as if that's some, like, unknowable answer. We have a pretty good idea. And they also have a pretty good idea, too. In fact, they have probably, in most cases, they have a lot more information than we do. So, like, yeah. Like, the people that they're signing the contracts. What do you want to do? You want them to, like, be stuck on or put on ice for the rest of their life?
Yeah, it's a tough it's a tough situation. But yeah, I saw that Linda McMahon tweet, and I was like, "Read the room." That's like the phrase of like the last month. It seems like, read the room. Like, do you see what's going on out here? Open your damn eyes.
Yeah, I remember, like, you know,
two Americas, two different worlds.
I mean, yeah, there are different Americas, but like when you're that level of rich, you're that isolated, you know, things like this can happen.
Yeah, that is the room she's reading. Like,
I mean, look at, you know, well, I'm not even going to talk about the political ties and tying it into whether or not they can tell stories, because there's plenty of like right wingers that can tell stories, but whatever. So
I can tell you a story. there's this book, right?
Oh, God.
I ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, please don't. Please do not. Do not go there. Yeah. Anyway, so we can just move on and talk about NXT Takeover in your house. What were your overall thoughts?
I thought there was good wrestling up and down the show. Mm-hmm. I thought there was, the aesthetic of the show. I loved In Your Houses as a kid. I loved Todd Pettingill. I'm a child of the new generation era. I loved hearing the big voice overdub guy in the beginning. The standard of excellence, like that, that whole thing, just the Ico Pro, all that stuff. I loved it. As far as the show, I think the consensus is like NXT TakeOver kind of missed for the first time in like a really long time. Some of the matches didn't quite hit their marks, especially the men's title match. I think Gargano and Lee was good, but it didn't, like when you see Johnny Gargano and Keith Lee, we're thinking match of the year candidate, but we didn't get that. And then, of course, the finish, like with Charlotte losing the title but not losing, is bound to, we're going to get into that in a minute. I'm going to absolutely brutalize them and punish them for that. But I liked some of the undercard stuff. That was the 6-woman opener, and Priest and Balor I thought was really good. But I think there was just a feeling that was missing, and I think the crowd was terrible through a lot of it. Because it's like if you contrast it just to AEW and you see how they have the wrestlers reacting, like they have the heels on one side and the faces, and it feels like they all kind of react naturally to A, the match, and B, their characters. Yeah, the NXT wrestlers are in there literally being the NXT universe, so it's like they're all like not kind of reacting to the right things. Like there was a spot in Lee and Gargano. Gargano jumped through the middle of the ropes and did a tornado DDT, and there was like no reaction. Right. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? Like, I don't like y'all didn't react to this. Like, what the fuck? And then they would randomly do like, this is awesome chants, like when it was like out of place, it kind of felt like. And I think the crowd was like a hindrance most of the night. But I don't know, man. Like, I think they gotta figure something out with NXT, because it seems like it's rapidly changing right now. Gargano and Ciampa are kind of being lessened at the moment, and it looks like they're in a period of transition with Riddle leaving. The tentpole events are usually on point. Like if you look at Portland and War Games, even though War Games is a little goofy, but they flirt with not having an identity and then having one. Almost like every sets of like 2 or 3 weeks. It seems like it all goes to hell, and I don't know if that's interference from outside forces with like Vince.
That's part of it.
Or if it's like the format of them going week to week. And if you think about it, this week last year was NXT Takeover 25, which is like awesome show.
Yeah,
and
that's like their
that doesn't exist
second or
anymore.
Third best takeover ever.
And it feels like that doesn't. It feels like that doesn't exist anymore. Like that whole feeling that was around it. But what'd you think?
It was a good show. Was it to the standard of the takeovers we've seen since Nakamura showed up? No. I had fun watching it, but it was a good show. It's not a show of the year contender, which is what takeovers have been at like nonstop for the past 4 years. So I understand anyone that's disappointed for it, because it was quote unquote disappointing. So I understand that, but I thought I still had a blast watching it. there was nothing that peaked that I thought like this is a match of the year contender for WWE, which is I can't remember last time that happened on the Takeover. But the triple threat match main event was a great match. Priest versus Balor was a great match. Johnny versus Keith Lee was a match that I think would have gotten 4 stars from a lot of people had it been in front of a normal crowd, but like you pointed out, with the crowd not reacting the way that they're supposed to, and all these like people that are new to wrestling apparently have never watched wrestling before or don't know how to react to wrestling. There's that too. I thought every match on the show, like regardless of how level of good it was at the very least good, except the NXT men's titles match.
Yeah, I think that match was a mild disaster, I would say, and we'll get to it when we're going through the card. But
yeah, so let's go through the first match. Women's six woman title match. My God, 6-woman title match. Tegan Nox and Mia Yim and Shotzi Blackheart versus Candice LeRae, Raquel Gonzalez, and is it Raquel Gonzalez or just Raquel? I don't know if they've cut her name.
I think it's
still Gonzalez.
Yeah, for now.
Okay, Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. Dakota came out. She's dyed her hair pink in honor of Hannah, which is funny because Hannah's hair only been pink since like around a year ago this time, but whatever. And she's known Hannah before for years, but whatever. So there's that. They have a really good match. They worked really hard. I thought that they went to the dives a bit too early, but it still worked. No one died when they did dives this time. They caught, Shotzi this time. It was funny seeing like someone the size of Mia, but especially the size of Candice brawling to the back like giants in a Royal Rumble.
Yeah. So the old Survivor Series brawl to the back, protect them both spot.
Yeah. So that continues their feud, which I like. They have this is what I like this being on the show, because in the past 3 weeks, as they kind of like pulled themselves out of that that bad period when they had that the garbage finishes on those title matches with Charlotte and Adam Cole and Velveteen and EO, and they bait and switched you with Velveteen and Balor. Like, one of the things that they've done to try to pull themselves out of that was focus on their mid card of the women's division, and like the fact that they got on the card, I appreciate that. They worked their ass off. If this had been on a TV episode of NXT, like this would have been like, you'd been pointing at it and look at the quality, and I'm glad that they were able to be showcased on the pay-per-view.
I liked this match a lot. It was fast. They came out the gate like they knew, like they had a point to prove.
Right.
I think I went 3 3/4 on this. I just was really happy with it. Actually, I might have went 3.5. Sorry, okay. 3.5. And I thought that Tegan looked good. Like as far as the dive she did. Anytime she's diving to the outside, you kind of just hope she doesn't get hurt. But I'll never be a fan of her choke slam, but like you can kind of see what the match was designed to do, and Dakota Kai, forever a loser.
Yeah. And it's funny because like she pins Dakota, and then you look at the feud overall, and hopefully that's the last time that's the end of the feud, but it's like Dakota turned heel. And I think it might be an even record, but like I think it might be 2-2. Yeah, it's 2-2. Tegan won the first match. Tegan had the other 2 matches completely won, if not for Raquel Gonzalez, and then she pins her here, and it's
dressed in all black.
Yeah, it's looking dominant, and it's like you think like tall, impressive athlete specimen, all black in your house. Oh my God, it's Diesel. So you had that, and like
Tamina should be shaking looking at her, like, right?
Oh my God, I don't know. Like, I would say yes, because I feel like Tegan has a lot more potential to eventually be something. Like at the worst, like
Raquel.
Raquel is what I mean. Yeah. Like so yeah. Like that could be the potential replacement. Yeah, I thought Tegan and Candice were both like very good in this match. So was Mia. Those are the three that stood out, which makes sense because those are the three biggest stars out of the six. So that was good. I wonder what's next for Tegan. Maybe it's, maybe it actually is building towards Tegan and Candice after Candice, does whatever with Mia. Like, because they kind of have teased that over the past couple weeks that like, while all this has been going on is like, when you turn heel, like you kind of like, you kind of broke my heart, Candice. So like, eventually they'll get to that, I think.
Yeah. So up next we had Finn Balor against Damian Priest. I thought this was awesome. This to me was Finn Balor's best match in WWE. And it was like he was a babyface fighting this like big heel that's athletic, and they didn't tell us he was too small. They didn't say he was at a disadvantage. They didn't tell us that he was outmatched. No, they just let the dude go out there and fight for himself, and it felt like watching, ironically, like Shawn Michaels versus Diesel. At In Your House, where there's a small dude and there's an athletic dude. And of course, Priest a little bit more evolved than Diesel.
Was there a prosthesis that was pulled off of any former notable wrestler and used as a prop?
There should have been.
God.
There should have been.
Boo this man.
There should have been. But yeah, Damian Priest was taking like Shawn Michaels on the coffin bumps. Like that big one, that I didn't know if it was like, I was like, why are you doing this? Like in front of like that crowd. Don't do it in front of that crowd. Do it in front of like actual fans.
Like if he had dropped 4 inches, it felt like 4 inches further out, it could have been some Rick Rude, Shawn Michaels casket deal.
Yeah.
Like when I saw it, I thought that's exactly what happened. I was like, he may have just broken his back. That's the first thing I thought.
Yeah. But yeah, overall the match was awesome. They were hitting each other hard as fuck, and it was like explosive, and they were just like subverting your expectations, like things that make Ichi matches great. They were doing that, and Priest looked like a guy that's going to be useful for something. Then I thought these guys, wow, they're both 38. Like, so I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like get these dudes up and rolling, like, or get Priest up and rolling. Get him the fuck out of here. Get him push him. Like,
I think that's what the point of that was. Like, it wasn't like when he stood over like Dragunov at what was that Takeover Blackpool 2, right? When he beat Dragunov. Yeah, when he stood over him like, I've beaten you, you're completely destroyed, and like he did the same thing to Johnny at Portland. It's like, no, I've beaten you decisively, and I'm paying you no respect. Like at the end of that match, like they traded like their poses at each other, like between the double finger guns and then like the bow. So it's like, and then old commentary to put over is like, this wasn't some typical situation where like Balor could have been beaten. Like there's a reason after that bump where he goes for the Razor's Edge, which is funny because it's like they were pointing out he tried to go for the Razor's Edge like 2 or 3 times. He actually got it one time on the apron, and then he also pointed as like tall Latin guy, quote unquote, except Damian Priest is actually really Puerto Rican, and it's as opposed to fake Cuban Scott Hall. But after he goes off and bumps off of the bottom half of the stairs, he hits him with the coup de grace to the back of the head, or to his back, and then he hits him with another one to put him away, because it's like, this dude took me to my limit. He had me beat. I quote unquote got lucky. I have to make sure he's done. Like he reached that level of desperation. I have to hit him with 2 of my finishes.
All right, and I haven't liked much of what Finn Balor's been doing match wise in NXT. Like I didn't really like the Riddle match. I didn't necessarily love the Johnny Gargano match. I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was up to what Johnny had normally been doing. But this one, I think Balor found something. Like, do it like this. Like, so
yeah, I think it's a thing where like if you were into watch NXT more often, I think you would have a more you'd be kind of be more closer to like where I'm on, where it's like, he's on, he has good matches or great matches, and then like, you know, and they protect him or whatever else. Like, he had a match in the opener of the Dusty Cup show, the show that I was at with Trent Seven, and he beat the shit out of Trent. You know, Trent Seven's great at selling. It was so fun to watch. He has a match with, I'm trying to think who else he has a match with. The match with Cameron Grimes is good until they did the stuff with Priest coming in.
So they'll be doing a rematch of that this week.
Okay. Yeah, like that match is gonna be really good. Because, you know, like regardless of whatever you know, however much of a geek Cameron Grimes is, once the bell rings, he can go. Yeah, so
of course he was in PWG, James.
Okay, well, I'm sure there's some people there in PWG who's like, I don't know, because not everybody that's a best of the Super Junior person is great either, like Dookie. So, but what I will say is, you know, I think that this loss, quote unquote, elevated Priest. I don't know to where, but I think now that we're going to get, you know, with like the downward trend of Gargano, the downward trend of Ciampa, like somebody has to rise up, and Karrion Kross clearly one of them, and like Priest was so impressive in the match, and he got the respect on commentary and put over on commentary, and also the thing with Balor at the end of the match is like, I could definitely see him coming up the ladder too. Mm-hmm. Especially when it's like, we don't know when Keith Lee gets called. It's just a matter of time, right? So
who knows? Speaking of that, we're getting into that next. So we had Keith Lee versus Johnny Gargano for the North American title. I watched the video package and saw this, and I felt severely underwhelmed by this. Is what they did for Johnny Gargano versus Keith Lee. Yep. The size difference between these guys is like fucking comical. Like, it was like, yo, like, I don't know, like, it, I thought the storyline, the promo package, like, it stunk. And then like the key thing, it was funny seeing Doc Hendricks on there, and then he turns the thermostat to 69 because it's Hayes. It's like, yeah, this is some insider shit here. It's some real insider shit. But like, he did like the whole thing with the keys. Like, I'm like, man, I just want to see these dudes have a match. But I think they played along with their size stuff well. Johnny would have to hit him like 3 times to rock Keith Lee. Keith Lee would hit him once and he would fall. Yep. I noticed that too. But yeah, this one, as I mentioned, I may have mentioned before, the crowd was just not reacting the right way, like for the near falls and some of the big moves like that. That diving DDT through tornado DDT through the ropes. That's like that's like a run it back, big holy shit moment, and the crowd was like silent. I was like, oh, this crowd is horrible tonight. Yeah, so I've watched I watched Takeover again, and this match, did they just not have good chemistry with each other? Nah, like, it's a stupid thing they do in NXT to where, like, with Keith Lee, when he, like, for example, the North American title match against Roddy Strong, they gave him a fluke like last second injury on his foot. So, and the match wasn't nearly as good because it's Keith Lee and he's selling for these tiny dudes. And granted, these are two of the best, whether it's Strong or Gargano, these are two of the best technical wrestlers in the world and storytellers in the world. However, no one paid to see Keith Lee sell. And regardless of how good the work was, it's just like, yeah, I like this, but ... and the ... is they could be doing something else that would be a lot more entertaining. And don't get me wrong, like, I thought that, the beginning of the match where Johnny is like, all right, well, he's huge, so I'll just outquick him and I'll hit and move, or I'll stick and move, and I'll try to get to his hand, his bad left hand, and like he tries to get to his hand. He throws him off him like
like a toddler. And then he's like, all right, I'll speed him. And then all of a sudden they do like that strike exchange, and he comes with that big kick, and Johnny's like, holy shit, he's so fast and quick. Like, and then like from there he's like, okay, I'm in over my head, and he whoops his ass a little, or Johnny gets his ass a little bit, and then he tries to take his ass back to his house. And then they do the ring bell spot, and like the ring bell camera, which I thought was just really, really, I thought it was really, really unique, and I thought it was cool. And then they get back in the ring, and then Johnny, starts working over that hand. He's like, I still got that hand. And then he gets his hand, and then he starts working over his eye. And I thought it was really cool the stuff he's doing with his the hand to eye stuff, where it's like, if he's using like his palm to pierce in, like the bone of his thumb to pierce into his eye to avoid like quote unquote eye poking and gouging, which is illegal, but it's like skirting the line. And like he's doing all this stuff because without that he cannot quick him, and he can't he can't like go into a strike battle. And then he worked him over so bad, and like Keith Lee, for such a gigantic size difference, is good at selling. And then he keeps trying to fight back, get back to his feet, and eventually he lays out Johnny, and then it turns to the strike battle that we kind of want or whatever else. That was really good. And then you start getting to the near falls, and then we're done. But it's like, for some people, I could see not being into it. Like it's a match that like I think this probably is Johnny's worst takeover match, but I'm giving it. I still think it's a 3.5 star match, but like you're expecting a whole star better between those two. But a lot of it is because like this is a story they wanted to tell, because Triple H and Shawn and Vince and the Road Dogg.
This is their one baby face that I feel like is like pure good guy,
yep.
Pure like. Seems like they have an idea, and this is what they did with them.
Right. And like this is in like the average age of the audience, like maybe they just feel like our audience will not buy this if they just go out there and just have a match like they can, and this is what you get. It's like, all right, well, that's what you get. You should let them do their match and had a 4.5 star match and call it a day, and instead you end up with a 3.5 star match. Still fun, still really smart, still a lot of good work done, but those two have a better match.
Yeah, they did like 4 kickouts in a row at the end.
Super kicks, yeah.
Super kicks and like various other moves that Johnny did. I was like, man, just go get a gun. Like, what the fuck? Just go get a gun, Johnny. What the fuck? But yeah, they did the big spot. My theory on the fiberglass.
That spot was great.
Yeah, but aside from that, like I finally figured it out. Them shits are noisemakers.
Yeah, for them to bash on them. Yeah,
yeah, like that. Like they're not to protect anyone. They're not for anything. They're kind of smart, Vince. Kind of smart.
Yeah, like I mean, do what you can, right? Do what you can. I would like for them to be more vocal with their cheers than them just bashing on the stuff, because like the bashing comes at a low tone. Like they have to figure something out with their miking or find better people to cheer. But whatever, it's fine.
It's like, man, we gotta cut them some slack. They've been on their feet for 10 hours.
Yeah, that's another one.
With no lunch.
That's another one. Is like, how productive can you be having the same audience, regardless of if they're paid bots or not? They're clones. If you're gonna have them sit around and watch like hours upon hours of wrestling in for multiple tapings in one day, it's not a good idea.
Yeah, I had to get some more info on how that all works.
Yeah. Also, social distancing. So much for that when Johnny just goes right through the fucking barricade. It was a great spot, but it's like I saw it. I was like, well, that's so much for that. And it's like the very first day they actually night they got them shits is when like the crowd like ran into the ring from on the main event of that Raw. So it's like, these are clearly just props.
Yeah,
clearly.
Yeah. All right, let's get to it. NXT title match. Adam Cole and the Velveteen Dream showed up dressed like Negan from The Walking Dead. WWE continuing their long-running history of being 5 years late to whatever is going on in pop culture.
Rich, do you remember when Dave Chappelle did Saturday Night Live? You remember when that happened?
No.
It was like after Trump had won the election, so that's like either December or late November 2016 or early 17, right? and he actually did a Negan skit. Saturday Night Live beaten to the punch by over 3 years.
Wow. Yeah, so that was just one of many things in this match. So this is, the pre-shot so-called cinematic match with heavily editing. Adam Cole rolls in looking like he's about to go, looking like he's driving the joint from the Halloween Havoc 1995 with Hogan and the Giant, monster truck. Yes, looking like he's ready for a round of that kind of fighting. Velveteen Dream, he pulls up. I forgot what he pulled up in.
In a yellow Lamborghini.
Gotcha. We know that ain't yours.
Like look how you dress. And then Morrow, and then Morrow pointed out, like, kind of surprised. I figured he'd show up in a little red Corvette. And it's like,
yeah.
Morrow gets it. Like Morrow gets it.
So, flat out, this just didn't click. It felt like its tone was wrong. We still have no type of answer on Velveteen Dream, what's going on outside the ring.
Right. And for me personally, like, that colors what's going on TV with him too.
Yeah. They tried to put like some comedy elements, or they had someone pull up and ask for the Uber, but it wasn't even like comedic. It was just like, what are they doing here? Like, this doesn't add anything. Like, then there's like a ladder outside. Why, I don't know. Very basic brawl, and the whole time you're sitting around just like it was as soon as I forgot what happened, but there was a point in the match where it just turned from watching the match to like it's a roast session during this match, all on Twitter and everything else. And then Undisputed Era comes up, and I'm like, wow, they had this in the can. They had all the time they wanted to make this good, whatever. They were shooting this late at night, and this is what they came up with. Learn the lesson. Read the room. You just had the Stadium Stampede go off. You could have, like, it was like they were playing this dead ass serious. Like, it was like, it felt like this is not like where a championship should be decided. It felt like this was like, it was just something they felt they had to do, but I don't know why. Like, do they not trust Velveteen Dream to this degree? Or did they just want to do this? Like, oh, this will be great.
I don't know. But they were just so poorly thought out. Like,
it seems like they didn't take more than like 5 minutes of thought for this match.
Well, the first thing is, like, guys, WWE in particular, because, well, actually, no, it's not AEW thing, because like they made it sure to like falls can count anywhere. So, but like, guys, if y'all want to have this anything goes as type of match, you have to give me personally, you have to give me the element of urgency that the match could end at any time if you can pin somebody or slap on a submission. Like, regardless of how wacky or goofy the Boneyard match was, or the or whatever, or the Stadium Stampede was, at any point in time, I felt like somebody could win via pin, submission, or death.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and the thing that has failed them, whether it was the one heartbeat match or one final beat match or the ladder match or the Money in the Bank corporate Titan Towers match or this match, is that it goes on and it goes on, and there's no one is, and it turns to, it's clearly not a match because they're just going around and wasting our time brawling and not getting to the point or whatever else. So, like, for me, watching the stupid ass spot where the fake ass spot where Adam flees from out the ring. Adam Cole flees from out the ring, gets into the car to try to leave the match. Why did you come here if 5 minutes ago you just showed up? Why did you show up if 5 minutes later you're just gonna leave. But whatever. Let's put that to the side. Yeah. He tries to leave in a vehicle that's not his. Looting. Out there looting. Anyway. So
will they be getting called out for the looting by any publications?
Probably not. Velveteen gets on top of this I think it's a Dodge. This Dodge car with the baseball bat. And he bashes the top of the roof. He bashes in one car's door side. He bashes in another car door side. He takes off one of the side view mirrors. And at no point did Adam Cole say, you know what? He's on top of the hood of this car. Let me go in reverse and basically throw his ass off of this vehicle. He's scared to death and is selling like he's scared of getting hit while he's protected by a vehicle from a baseball bat. It was so weird. They go, eventually, after the Uber spot, Cole's able to get away. Then it turns into a where is he, duck hunting season. Fire extinguisher spot. They make their way back towards the ringside area or around by the ringside area. And then the ladder comes out from out of nowhere. There's a spot where he's about to he sees like he's going to elbow drop him, while after putting Cole on the hood of the car, he's going to elbow drop him off a ladder. And all of a sudden, the rest of Undisputed shows up minus O'Reilly. And, he gets distracted because they put the high beams on. And they blew the horn. And then they get in there, Adam Cole climbs up. He shoves Cole down onto through the windshield almost. And then they show the blood, the fake blood, and it's like they closed in on his arm to show the fake blood, and it's like we can clearly see that's fake blood and there's no gashes there, so why would you even do fake blood? No one asked for fake blood. I thought y'all said that blood and guts are barbaric. And then
we'll get to that later.
Then the rest of Undisputed, they beat the two guys on Undisputed. They beat up Velveteen, and then they go to the pickup truck, the trailer, and they start throwing chairs into the ring, like 30 of them. And then for some reason, looking at where the chairs, where they're throwing them from, all of a sudden Roddy, quote unquote, one didn't land into the ring, and then they show this angle where it's like it's fucking impossible for a chair to have actually been thrown from there and end up underneath the fucking ring skirt. Whatever. Goes to grab it. Out comes Dexter Lumis, who could have foreseen this. Me on Messenger while watching this match 5 minutes before it even happened. Anyway, so he kidnaps them just like he said he was going to kidnap them. And then Velveteen gets a near fall because they tease I'm not even gonna go through the rest of this shit. Basically, it
was not good.
It was just not good. Overlong, no sense of urgency, just garbage walking brawl. Yeah, and then they played it totally serious, it's the most dramatic thing ever. And it's that's not the tone you want for a match like this. You want to be wacky and silly, Undertaker and AJ Styles figured that out. The Inner Circle and the Elite figured this out. Those are the two ones that have worked. Oh shit, take that back. It wasn't even that much cinematic, but John Cena and Bray Wyatt figured it out too. It'd just be wacky or whatever else and outside the box. Don't try to play this shit as real. Every time anyone's tried to play this shit for real, it's failed. It's mostly failed.
They're playing the music behind it to try to set the mood and all that. And I'm like, no, I don't want this. Why can't I just watch wrestling?
Right. It's not wrestling. And at least with the ones we mentioned before, they're not pretending it's wrestling, so they're literally leaning into the goofiness and the wackiness of it. Even the ladder match tried that. They didn't even do that.
It's there's no self-awareness at times, whoever's putting these matches together. But Cole wins, continues this reign, and it's what man, are they running Adam Cole into the ground here? What the fuck's going on? Who's gonna beat him?
I don't know if this is the Velveteen feud's fault, but Adam Cole has, to my knowledge, from what I can recall, hasn't done anything of note after having that great of a year last year since Portland.
Yeah, he's been done. Like I felt like I haven't even heard about him being on TV. Really,
because he was actually not on TV a lot.
Yeah,
he was like doing these in almost like from the house call in promos or whatever. And I don't know how much of that had to do with social distancing or how much of that had to do with like some injury we just don't know about because they never tell us shit, or how much of that was just like, well, what do you want to do? Work with Velveteen more?
Yeah. So, like, looking at it, like, the people that are circling, like, Finn Balor. Then there's, like, you brought up Walter, who they could pull in, but that seems like a stretch. But
I think without COVID, we would have gotten that by now. Because, like, do you remember Worlds Collide? That match was fucking great. And Walter was the king of kings in that fucking match, right? Like, I mean, obviously, Alexander Wolf getting hurt in that match immediately, like, and they had to work from underneath the whole time, working 3 to 4. But like, Walter was just like a world beater on that Worlds Collide main event. So it's like, all right, like, what other challenges are there? Like, he had, So right now, for me, the 4 people that come to mind immediately are Walter, Karrion Kross, Keith Lee. I'm blanking on somebody.
Finn Balor.
Yeah, those are the ones that immediately come to mind for me. I mean, you could do Roddy, but that means you have to have Roddy win some matches. It's supposed to be a setup guy for Cole.
Yeah, if it's me, I'm going with Keith Lee. They didn't fuck around with the guy long enough, and we're doing belt versus belt. Cole's had the belt long enough. Keith Lee could stand to win both belts or whatever, and then he can vacate it after. Who cares?
Yeah.
And it's not like they, it's the North American title. Like, they've protected it to a degree, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. And also, there's like a fresh crop of guys. There's like that aren't doing shit, like Kushida, Swerve, like all the dudes. Like you can take a couple dudes that were out of that cruiserweight joint, put Damian Priest in there, put fucking Cross in there, or Ciampa or Gargano in that tournament, and you do like a North American tournament after or whatever.
Yeah.
So
they have a bunch of ideas. The thing is, like, there's a clear cast of.
No, they don't have a bunch of ideas. That's the problem. Like, it seems like they're being backed into these corners.
Well, let me phrase that. I didn't mean to say ideas. I mean to say options. There's a bunch of options. They have to put them into fruition. It's like, you look at it, it's like, look at these potential things they could do, and it's like, all right, well, like, what have you done to actually, like, put those things into place? Oh, very little, next to nothing. Okay, thanks. Like, they could have, like you said, they could have used Kushida, or not Kushida, but Swerve over the last few, months or the years since he's been on NXT or whatever. So you could have got him ready for a title shot to lose eventually. Like, it's just, it never worked out a way. Like, and granted, like, who knows what they were going to plan on doing with Garza or some of the, other cruiserweights that are like, seem to like get a certain push, but then like they're not used on NXT because like they're not really on the show. Like, how much of the 205 Live roster feels like that? We're like, yeah, they come in.
Feels like Kushida's not really on the show,
right? That's what I'm saying. Is like, whether it's Kushida or Swerve or any of the dudes, like when it was Umberto that was there or it was Garza, it just feels like
these interlopers.
Right. Austin Theory, another one, like just interlopers. Like, they're there, they get themselves over a lot over better. They're like, they have things going for them better than like if they were on 205 Live, and then like they just basically like, all right, you get no push. You're just here to have a match. It's like, well, you could do something with Garza, and then it's like, oh well, fuck, you fuck around and do enough with Garza. They like immediately pluck him and put him on the main roster because they see it. It's like, damn, we didn't get a chance to get that.
Yeah. So the next match is Karrion Kross against Tommaso Ciampa. Boy, destruction. Yeah. A junior Cena versus Lesnar match. I feel like, first of all, they need to stop lying about how big Karrion Kross is. He is not 6'4", 265. He's not Brock Lesnar size. Stop the cap. Stop the misdirection. Stop the foolishness.
How much do you think he really weighs?
He is probably 235, 240.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking too.
And he's probably about 6'2". Like, so.
Yeah.
It's just he's next to Ciampa, who's not the biggest guy in the world, so it looks better. It actually looks better around a lot of these guys in NXT. So
that's kind of been like the thing, like, oh, he's a monster in NXT, and then it's like, oh, he's on the main roster now. Good luck trying to work Braun Strowman, guy.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, where's Lars?
Hey man,
Bitch, we ain't seen Lars in like years now. It feels like, right?
Yeah, like that man had that knee injury, then he had, his past leak onto the internet, and he had, his past leak onto the internet again, and,
Dude, like, no, seriously, like, Lars showed up, like, the beginning of 2019, right?
Bro, they ain't seen him since, like, the first Saudi Arabia show in 2019. That's, like, the last time we seen him.
Yeah. Is he done? I don't really care one way or the other, but it's like, they were trying to push him to the moon, and like, maybe is the suspension still in place? And maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
I don't know, man. Somebody gonna have to figure it out.
Like, look, I will not do one bump for no money.
Yes.
I don't blame him if that's the case, but
But Cross and Ciampa, I thought this was like what it needed to be if you want to get him over as a monster. The lip syncing is still cringe as fuck, and like when I see it, it's like the whole crowd chanting like the song. It's like it's not that over. Like, that was one of the terrible crowd parts of the night for me. I was like, really, and I don't know. Like I like some of the suplexes the guy did, but you didn't
learn anything.
Yeah, you didn't learn anything. Ciampa looks like he has to go to hell now. Like you don't know what the fuck. Like, where's he supposed to go? Like, is he going to the main roster? Like, because it looks like, yeah, you about to do like if this is the old territory days, he would be doing jobs to every heel on the way down the card now.
Yeah, like he came back.
Him and Johnny.
He came back. After he came back on the first episode on USA Network, he chased after his title. It got delayed because of War Games. He finally gets his title match at Portland. Johnny screws him. He loses to Johnny. Cross attacks him. Cross squashes him. It's done. That's like, and you see the stuff that happened on Twitter today with Orton or whatever. Like, that could be a potential angle.
It could.
And it's like,
if I were them, I would run headfirst into that after this Edge thing or whatever, right? Like have Ciampa be like, like say if Orton wins, right, and play it off Edge's neck, be like, I know me and Edge, because they played this up on Edge's documentary, like him and Ciampa having a relationship.
I didn't know that.
So, like, it's because they bonded over their necks or whatever. So you could have Ciampa bring that in, like, I look at Edge like a mentor, and fuck you, and shit like that. So
yeah, we know Orton. Like, Orton's good. Orton's been so good that, like, I mean, what's your favorite Orton feud of the last, I don't know, 10 years? Would it be Daniel Bryan automatically?
Yeah, Daniel Bryan automatically.
Yeah, it's like, because Orton is that kind of talent, even though he rarely ever shows it. Where it's like, he's 6'4", and he can like carry monsters. But he can also sell for little dudes. And like when I saw it, we saw that with Daniel Bryan over the years, or AJ Styles, and it's like he can do that with Ciampa.
He's like a rich man Scott Hall.
I never thought of it that way, but yeah, yeah.
And they, but yeah, Ciampa, like Randy Orton called that man, the self-appointed leader of a locker room leader of a wrestling school. Bitch, I fucking died. Like, bro, because like when Randy Orton says that shit on Twitter, if you in NXT, you just got to eat that shit. Yeah. You can't even like,
and it's also like, because it also like kills all the nonsense that in propaganda stuff that are like, well, it's development. Like, they change their mind between it's a development of the third brand from time to time. It's like, all right, well, if it's third brand, then why does this fucking place keep getting raided? And they never get anything, and the only thing they get in return is Finn Balor and Charlotte. Right?
And they come in and they don't do any jobs.
Right. Third brand, fuck out of here. It's like, no, y'all aren't even developmental necessarily either. Who are y'all developing? Motherfucker, all y'all do is make people worse wrestlers. Right. So what's being developed? Right? It's like, no, this is not developmental. This is not a third brand. This is a garage holding Ferraris in the garage so they can be driven by anyone else.
This is a warehouse.
Yes.
So
it is a toolbox. It is whole.
So James, being that you formerly had a lot of heat for Tommaso Ciampa a couple years ago, how much did you enjoy? Was there a part of you deep down that just enjoyed this match for what it was? Did you enjoy the destruction of Ciampa for tormenting you?
No. Don't get me wrong. Like, Tommaso Ciampa did not torment me. Paul Levesque tormented me with that fucking booking. So, like, obviously, like, in the feud, like, ever since the neck thing, like, I've been cool with Ciampa. It's like, look, man, this dude, like, almost lost his whole career, could have lost his life, could have been paralyzed. I'm done with it. Or whatever else. Like, so, like, I enjoy Ciampa. And, like, even you gotta admit, even when I hated his stick and guts and called him that dude instead of his name, I always acknowledged, like, look how awesome he's been. Always. He's awesome promo, awesome wrestler, has awesome matches, whatever else. But now he's in this situation where, like, him and Johnny have both been, like, downgraded. Is like, it's almost if, like, remember the Sean story where like Sean said that, like, Vince wanted to move him to SmackDown and Sean was like, no, and he's like, if you don't, I'll dock your pay, and he was like, fine, and then he walked away. Like, It's almost like, go to the main roster, Johnny, go to the main roster, Tommaso, no, we'll dock, or you'll never get a bigger contract. I'm okay with that, that's fine. And then they just go on with their day. You'll have to job in matches, fine. Look, even when I was I was always jobbing. What's jobbing now to us, right? So, if that is a write-off for him, then I think, it was appropriate. It got the dude over.
Yeah. But we got our main event up next.
Yeah, man. NXT Women's title match, which is funny because, like, I was wondering, like, before the show, immediately, like, are the women going to main event? And then it's funny because, like, Jeremy was like, he's like, I forgot what he said, but he was like, it's probably going to be Dream and Velveteen, but, like, that's weak. And I was like, yeah, man, like, that's the reason why I'm asking, because it is so weak. And then sure enough, that ends up being a main event. Charlotte gets her takeover main event that she never had before. So she, Ty Bailey and Sasha.
Can I start now, James? Can I just start going in?
The floor is yours. I'll add it after that.
So they making up to Charlotte again for stuff she didn't get in the past.
Well, I don't think that's actually the case. I was just pointing it out.
No. You put it on the table.
I was saying in jest, but okay, sure. Why not?
Just like they did at the Royal Rumble this year. We gonna make up for what we didn't give you before. So you won't boo boo face and whatever. So you win Shayna Baszler's Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm. She's ice cold.
Correct. And then you do something that makes no fucking sense in the context of anything. You go to fight the wrestling school's champion,
and to do that, to get yourself ready, you beat Bianca Belair between her losses to Charlotte and to Rhea. They move her on to the main roster where they're doing nothing with her. So she's also ice cold.
Yep. So Charlotte continues the reign of terror into going to WrestleMania and beating Rhea Ripley clean as a sheet, and the whole build is I'm this bigger star than you. You are. I'm going to take you to deep water and drown you, and then everything Charlotte said in the end was right.
Yeah. And in the build, like, I always get the advantage in every situation we're in, except for one where, like, you catch me like while I'm trying to get through the ropes. It's always like unfair when I beat you, and then you beat me in the match. And, like, lo and behold, like, on January 1st, Rhea was more over than she was in the aftermath of WrestleMania.
Yeah, so Rhea Ripley disappears forever, or at least a month. Charlotte is coming around, like, they're putting her on every damn show under the sun. Mind you, there's no uptick in ratings. There's no, like, positive, quarter hours. That she earned the nickname Charlotte 7000 at one point. There was substantial proof that they were drawing better without her. And I don't get it. Like, they inexplicably count the NXT championship as a world title again.
Wait, they do?
Yes, they counted that as they tacked that on Charlotte's number. So
she's a 12-time champion instead of a 10-time champion now.
Correct. Or 11, whatever.
Wait, so they're only counting one of the NXT championship reigns, not two.
I think so. I think they're only counting one. What? I know, it's fucking dumb. Why? Because like they're stupid. Like,
so is Big E a world champion?
What's up?
So is Big E a world champion?
Check this out. So you remember when Drew McIntyre did that sit down, was talking about I've never been a world champion and all that. So like I guess the NXT men's title doesn't count, as a world championship. But now since Charlotte, can't add it on, more wind aid for her, and I'll never understand it. And then she goes through, she cleans out Mia Yim, she cleans out, or as you mentioned, Bianca Belair before that, zaps her, Rhea Ripley zaps her, she fights Io Shirai, and she's doing all these goofy ass matches on NXT TV with no finishes or terrible, horrible finishes in them, and they're doing any match that she's in, the finish makes no sense at all. Like the tag match, like Io Shirai is getting pinned, not Chelsea Green. Apparently, maybe they'll go to that after now, but
there's some word that Chelsea Green might get called up. Like, it's so fun. Like, so many people are getting called up. It's like, well, whatever.
Yeah. And then you get to the finish where Charlotte drops the NXT title without fucking losing. Like, yep. Why? Like, I just don't get it. I think this is terrible. I think this was a booking disaster. This is malpractice for everybody that's involved. Going back from the Royal Rumble, this was nothing but to enhance Charlotte. This was not to get Rhea Ripley over. This was not to get Bianca Belair over. This was not, and I repeat, not to get Io Shirai over as champion for winning. This was the WWE bending over backwards for Charlotte for some reason. I don't know why. I've yet to discover it. There's no business that backs this up. There's no Google Trends that back this up. There's no Charlotte merchandise that backs this up. There's no nothing that backs this up except Vince's fetish for blonde, big titty white women. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand it. And it's just, gone so far at this point. They're clearly rushing her to the 16th title. If they fuck around, they can do it by next year's WrestleMania, I bet, if they wanted to. This is a disaster. This is a travesty. This booking, this finish to this match was dumb. This was like just everything I hate when Charlotte gets involved in something, because it's always dumb. There's my rant for Charlotte. Put that on a highlight reel.
Yeah, I don't disagree much with anything you said. We're at a point now to where and I don't know. Maybe a situation where they look up and they're like, "Holy shit, Charlotte's 34. She's about to get married. Becky just left because she's about to go have a child." I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. It's like, we did all this shit to get, 2 women in the main event of WrestleMania. Only one's left. That's, so we have to quote unquote protect her, even though, we, it's so dumb. But like the only thing that makes sense from, and I'll get to the match eventually, because the match was fucking great, but whatever. We'll get to that in a second. But the only thing that makes sense to me, from a logical standpoint, is, for a full year, or not almost a full year, but since when did Rhea show up? September?
September.
Yeah. So since September, NXT Women's Division has been a top 4 of Shayna, Io, Bianca, and Rhea. And, it was those 3 underneath Shayna all chasing after her title. Rhea won the title. Bianca got another shot, and then they beat her and sacrifice her to Charlotte, and then moved her up to the main roster. So the only person left that would make sense over the last 6 months watching this division to win the title, if it's not going to be Rhea, is Io. And given that we talked about Becky a second ago, I feel like, we don't know this, but it wouldn't shock me in the least if they just, Charlotte never comes back to NXT. This was Rhea's call up. Do a job on your way out. And we put the belt on Io, the only person that should have the belt if those 2 were to leave. And then we start over from there. I don't know. but ultimately, like, unless they immediately find their way to get themselves to in the next like couple months or next, let's say 30 days, 45 days, whatever. Like after Charlotte, actually no, Charlotte doesn't have a match on Backlash, does she?
Don't think so.
Okay, so
I'm sure she will.
Yeah, so whatever. After we get past this pay-per-view, like, the only thing that can make this any bit redeemable from Rhea's perspective is if either they have her and Charlotte either have a feud on the main roster or on NXT, either one, and they immediately go to that after this pay-per-view or whatever else. Anything other than that doesn't make any sense.
Triple H has said that this is all going to make sense in 3 to 4 months or something. Well, we're going to hold you to that, Mr. Game, because I seem to recall that, this is the same guy that said Roman Reigns will be written out of WrestleMania in a creative way. So, I think anytime you add Charlotte in, it instantly gets worse. Like, and you can just look at the collateral damage around her. Everyone's less over. Except EO by default, almost.
Yeah, it's like she's always over because like she's just that's fucking wrestler.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, it's like it's very much like the Asuka stuff. It's like they recognize that like they can do all types of bullshit and there's a level of respect there that like they will always be overcome and they can always go back to them in time of need. And it's like. That's cool, but like maybe you should like appreciate these people and like actually try to do things with them, like, in the meantime, aside from like, keep them on ice for other people to pull out like for special things. It's like it's really like, lazy booking. It's like you can always have people in the middle of doing things and doesn't necessarily mean like in the ring advanced storylines, whatever else. Like you could have them, on your .com or on Twitter or whatever else, or divulge or cut some of that time from like the 15-minute or 20-minute opening promo on a show or whatever else. I mean, I'm talking about the main roster, but like it's some of this stuff as far as like some of these bad booking patterns or lazy booking patterns are being rubbed off and trickled down to NXT. And like yes, there's a lot of stuff that's being mandated to them where they're booking with their hands tied behind their back, but like nobody has booked them into the corner with their men's single division like this, except for them. Like they lost Matt Riddle, and yeah, that does suck. But they weren't doing shit with Matt Riddle to where it's like some devastating thing. Like you lost your potential next challenger up. Okay, well, like you should always have like 3 of them in ready anyway. That's your fault.
Yeah. But onto the match. Thought it was a good match.
Yeah.
EO jumped off the house, so somebody made use of the house. EO became the champion, and they threw a lot of streamers at the end.
Rhea's okay. Moonsaulted on her head.
Yeah. The finish was goofy and stupid. Also, a double pin.
It's not a double pin. Are we going to argue this out?
I mean, we can if you want, but
my thing is this, right? Maybe like in WWE 10 years ago, a figure 4 and someone puts their shoulder and passes out from the pain is a pin or whatever else. But like, we've seen nothing to suggest that in NXT or WWE in God knows how many years. I can't remember the last time it was a fall like that. And honestly, if you think about it, it's not a fucking pin, so why would we even care? Like, I understand, like, they're carnies and they come up with creative ways to fuck you as a spender of money out of matches.
Because they fucked us in the cruiserweights thing like a couple weeks ago. It looked like. Then they fucked us with this one.
That was a couple weeks. But here's the thing: Kushida actually had a leg wrapped around the guy's chest, Atlas's chest, so he actually was pinned. I'm okay with that one. I'm okay with that one because you have that. You had a point where they pointed it out, and then they actually gave you an excuse to get out of it, and also they showed the tap out thing before the count out. They did none of that, and also Charlotte didn't ever actually have her shoulders pinned down to the mat. Kushida did.
Yeah, we disagree because like. I've seen people get pinned off of figure 4s before, and it's like it seems like, man, why couldn't they have done a finish where there was no doubt? Like, why are we even in the position to argue about this? Like, it's just more goofy booking around fucking Charlotte. Like,
I agree, it's a goofy thing, but like, my thing is like, they do all this MMA finish stuff in NXT or whatever, a lot of it based around Matt Riddle. Where it's like, all right, well, if that were a wrestling match, an amateur wrestling match, would a figure four leg lock actually count as a pin for somebody? Fuck no, it wouldn't. So why would I care if why should that then apply to where, like, well, you know, in professional wrestling, you know, in the big leagues where they're paying dudes the big bucks, you can't get pinned when your legs are locked and they're actually not doing shit to your shoulders or your body to control your upper body. Like, I just find that to be whack. And like, if you're a person that watched a bunch of 80s wrestling or 90s wrestling or watched Flair cheat a lot to retain these titles and fuck you the fans out of your money, I get it, but it's like, I'm okay with that not being the finish to a match. I really am. Because, like, if that had been the finish to a match, to an NXT TakeOver, let's say, like, Charlotte had actually, let's say Io wasn't coming off the ring with a moonsault. Let's say that actually had pinned Rhea. People would have been even more mad than the finish that happened. Right?
Hold on, like, if she did the moonsault
Io had never
rolled out.
No. If Io had never hit the moonsault, if Io was just out the match, and then Charlotte hit on the figure eight, and it quote unquote plays on the WrestleMania match where she hits the figure eight, and Rhea taps out, but instead she passes out, and she gets her shoulders pinned to the ring by being the figure four. That's a worse finish than what we got.
Well, a Charlotte win in that situation is the worst finish no matter what. So, like, anything like, you do.
Oh, she pinned her without pinning her. Okay, fuck off. Like, it was so.
Charlotte gonna be like, I didn't lose, you know, like, guarantee you.
Don't come back. Don't come back. Stay away.
You don't go here.
Right. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's at least 4, but whatever.
Yeah, I give it 4.
Yeah, it's in that 4 to 4.5 range. But you know, looking forward or scrolling ahead is like, yeah, it makes most of it makes sense, but some things like have some sense of logic in that whole book and get to it. It's like, all right, Rhea's owed a quote unquote rematch. Io won that ladder match to be number 1 contender. They have the match. Charlotte weasels her way out of it by cheating with the kendo stick. Rhea comes down and it's like, all right, well, one person's owed a title shot, the other person is owed a rematch. Fuck it, 2 birds, 1 stone. Charlotte's in a triple threat match. Match goes along. Charlotte seemingly can't win. She pulls out the kendo stick to start all this shit. Goes to town with it. She's about to pin Io to submit Rhea in the way that reminded you of the rematch or the first match they had at WrestleMania. Io steals it with the moonsault and the pin while Io, because she's quote unquote ahead of Charlotte. Even because when she pulled out the kendo stick against Io was beating her.
They could have saved this whole thing had she moonsaulted on Charlotte instead of Rhea Ripley. Like your legs are caught up, you were doing your move, and then you get caught with the fucking moonsault that you got out the way of last time. Like, it would have made perfect sense.
But like we said, it's political bullshit that's being mandated from up top onto NXT, and it's making NXT a lot less enjoyable.
Yep. I didn't have a great feeling coming out of this show. Like I said, some of the matches and some of the wrestling was good, but like, it just feels like this is a placeholder promotion. Like, this is a wrestling school. Like, that's my new shit now. This is a wrestling school. Like, I don't know, man. Like, talked about it before. Like, they've got good wrestlers there, obviously. Got good matches, and then it comes down to, well, what do these moments mean, and how quickly can they get undone or fucked up? And it seems like anytime it can happen. So this show could have used the fight pit. This show could have used at least something from the cruiserweight stuff.
Yeah, what was I don't even understand. Oh yeah, speaking of that, we need to talk about it. Like, I don't understand the need for like writing off Riddle before he can have a quote unquote last takeover match. I didn't get that.
Yeah, especially that he didn't debut already.
Yeah, but yeah, as far as the cruiserweight stuff, yeah, man. So we were talking about this off air on like Messenger or whatever else, but you like scoffed at the idea that like Drake Maverick actually meant something to ratings, and like lo and behold, he does, or he did.
I'm kind of shocked at that.
But Rich, go ahead, sorry.
But he was going up against Cody and the Jungle Boy, if I'm not mistaken, in the main event on that show. Yeah. And I think they had a couple video packages before the match. I don't know if the video packages had an effect to where they tuned out ahead of time. But head to head, I think it beat Cody.
It did. It won the last two segments or whatever.
Look,
it's not necessarily about Cody as much as it was like, or even like badmouth Cody as much as I was like, when I think a couple weeks ago, like I said on the podcast, like Drake Maverick is like the most inspiring babyface of like this month of professional wrestling in America. And like, I don't know if you thought, like, I was dead serious. I wasn't saying that being funny. I was dead serious when I said that shit. And like, a lot of people, were really interested in this one storyline. Like, obviously it's over now because he has a job, but like,
he's had a job.
Well, I don't know. I believe he was fired at one point. Obviously, they brought him back, I believe. But who knows?
The second he won a match, it was a work.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's life. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, like, it ended up working. Like, I don't know as far as what that means for him being on NXT or 205 Live, but, like, it's proof that, like, all the stuff they've been doing over the last 3 weeks since that bad episode of NXT is, like, the stuff that has worked largely has been stuff that wasn't on TakeOver. And then, like, you get the TakeOver and it's like, oh, like, this TakeOver was good, it wasn't great. And it's like, well, maybe if you put the effort that you put into the lower card shit into the main card shit, like, or to the upper card shit, like, maybe, that will help you out, as opposed to like, oh, okay, like, what is Gargano and Lee about? Oh, next to nothing? Okay. Velveteen in Dream again? No one wants to actually see that, but you're gonna do it again? Okay. Oh, Charlotte. She's here. Yay. But, I guess, you brought up Cody. Do you got time to talk about Dynamite?
Yeah. Let me pull up the results because it has been, these days. Yeah. It feels like it was a long time ago. So I know they opened up with the tag team title match. Kenny and Hangman back together for the first time in a long time.
Yes.
It was good to see the Golden Cowboys back in action.
You're called the what?
The Golden Cowboys.
Did you make that up, or where did you get that from?
That's just a Twitter thing.
Okay, the Golden Cowboys.
Gotta get a team name.
I thought Bushi was golden. Wait, we're just giving a golden to Kenny now?
Well, yeah, why not?
But that's Bushi's thing. Like, we could, like, okay, like, what are the things we have? Like, we can't call them like the Terminating Cowboys. They ain't got no ring to it. Like, there's some with Kenny we can make that shit.
I think it was something like maybe the Mega Cowboys or something. I don't know what. Yeah, there was something that I may have it wrong, but
the Clean Cowboys or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, but they had a match with Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc. Right. So those guys have been, or Sabian's, they were a big part of those tapings in Atlanta, and it's kind of like their thank you for that. I thought it was a decent match. I thought Kenny was awesome in this.
I like the match.
This was good match, and but besides that, not really.
Hangman looked obviously tired to me.
Oh yeah, you think so?
He was out of gas in person match, yeah. Like, he wasn't blowing like he's a fucking Ultimate Warrior, but like clearly, like, you can see he's huffing and puffing hard in parts of the match. And like, obviously, he's been gone. Wrestling conditions not the same thing as necessarily like cardio, but luckily, a lot of these dudes in this era, like, cardio's not really an issue because they're not as big, better athletes, better stamina. So like, he gets back underneath and starts getting some matches. Like, he'll catch back up quick, I imagine.
Yeah, so they got that win and they lock in their match at Fyter Fest against Best Friends. So who knows if that's going to be where Kenny and Hangman drop off the belts or whatever. I forgot to mention they did open the show with the Black Lives Matter thing and some piano music, so that was nice of them to share that sentiment. They ran down that Mike Tyson stuff at the top. I forgot. After that, Tully Blanchard and Sean Spears. They showed Tully getting off in Sean Spears' ass, basically calling him embarrassment. Parts of it. They showed like the whole promo was like a minute 17. They showed 30 seconds of it. Like every minute is valuable. It seems like. But they decided that Tully Blanchard, Sean Spears did not need a tag team partner. He has, something else apparently. So Tully gives him this case and he opens it up and it is a fingerless black leather glove. Immediately I was like, here comes this Mid-South ass shit, because I started thinking about Ted DiBiase, who have the loaded glove.
I was totally unaware about this loaded glove shit.
Yeah, he would put the loaded glove on and then do the fist drop or whatever. You remember when the $1 Million Man would do the fist drop? Like that was kind of like a play, like what he used to do in Mid-South. Gotcha. There are other guys that wore the glove, like I believe Blackjack Mulligan, Barry Windham, and now Sean Spears will be wearing the black glove at times to lay the punch in, apparently. So I don't know. I can't say I don't like it, but it's just like it's more of that. I'm like, I thought we were going forward, man. Like, why? Like I respect, you love you want to pull some of the 80s stuff out. I get it. I promise I get it, guys. But
no one watches AEW for fuck finishes.
Like I don't want to engage in
the clownery.
Yeah, I don't want them to think that's what we want, because I want Hangman and Kenny versus the Young Bucks. Like that's what I'm looking for out here. I'm looking for the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks. Like I'm looking for that. I'm not into this other shit.
I'm looking for people wrestling very, very hard and trying their best, and then there's a winner and a loser. That's all I'm really asking for. Like, and I mean, when I mean a winner loser, I mean a clean winner loser. I don't want this bullshit where someone has a glove on and then in the middle of the match, every match inevitably, or every other match inevitably, the ref gets distracted or bumped or whatever else, and then Tully is swapping gloves with him to a loaded glove to crack a dude and then pin him with. Fuck off! I don't want that on my TV. I just don't.
Yeah, it's it doesn't inspire things, but or good things, but like I
just find it lazy.
Yeah, and I feel like Sean Spears has been like, he gets a lot of shit, but I think he's been fine. Like especially like as a character performer in AEW, he's like enjoyable when I see him on screen. But it's like, I guess they're gonna be giving him a push, kind of.
But where? Like, I mean, ultimately, like, what is the destination for him? Right, and I don't mean as like this. We're probably harping on this longer than we should have, but like, because it's ultimately we're talking about a dude that's gonna be what a mid card heel.
Yeah,
like if best case scenario, but whatever. I mean, I feel like he has enough personality to be in a tag team with somebody, and he could be in a viable tag team, but that they don't want that for him for some reason, so he's doing this kind of nonsense.
So. Brian Cage beat the hell out of Sean Dean, bunch of suplexes and drill claw, another big victory for him. Taz, and Mox went face to face, and Mox jumped in the ring. Taz cut a pretty good promo on him, talking about Brian Cage building him up. Moxley came out and cut a really good promo actually, and let him know that he's like, I'm only human, but I can be beat. But it's gonna take you forever because I'm gonna die with this shit. Essentially, I'm into this match.
Yeah, I've been into it since like day one. Like Moxley is very good. Taz has been very good. Cage has been very impressive. Like they seem like they have given their matches and what we've seen them do. Like they seem like they're very capable of getting together and coming up with a very entertaining match. So like I'm all in. I'm all in on it. Can't wait.
Yeah, just the type of match that I'm into. So
hyper brawling, it's fun.
Alex Marvez came out here and he was at a construction site and he found the Murder Hawk monster Lance Archer fucking somebody up.
Yeah. And Jake couldn't control him. He's out of his mind. It was like one of those things. Like, oh no, like Heyman can't talk any sense into Lesnar. What's going to happen? He's like, oh, he's on site. He's not gonna hurt nobody. Who cares? Like,
he said, there's no one that's gonna stop him. He's not here to be a damn spot monkey. He's here to be a monster. And everyone dies, and all that. So,
what do you think's next for him?
I don't know. Maybe Darby. Maybe you do. Oh well, no. Darby might be getting into it with Cage at some point. So we got to think of a good guy for him to fight. Kind of slim pickings. I would have to think about it. Matt Hardy would be a good place to start, or trying to think who else.
Luchasaurus, or I mean, well, then again, they don't really like use Luchasaurus for anything other than like match here, match there. They don't really use him for like programs yet.
I would do, I always like recommending Joey Janela because I think he's just the most versatile guy, like one of the most versatile guys they have. He can wrestle up. He can wrestle like up to the main event level, or fight being there in the middle of the show, or do whatever you got to do with your monster. Joey can always do. So I will suggest him again.
Like if they were to, I think it probably is too early, but like if they were to turn, actually no, they could do heel versus heel. They could do Jericho versus Archer. They could do that, and everyone just cheer for Jericho.
I don't think
they may be too early. Like you might want to get Archer a W before you move on to stuff like that. But like he could do like I can see him doing like heel versus heel stuff for people like that would cheer for him or
I don't
cheer for some other than Archer.
Because I think Jericho's locked in with Orange Cassidy right now.
Oh yeah,
I think that's who he's gonna fight at Fyter Fest. But he could probably. I wish Shima was in the country. That would be awesome. But
it feels like there's somebody missed for him. Like maybe he could fight like Kenny or Hangman. Maybe they could take like a break from the tag stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing 2 shows or whatever else for Fyter Fest a week apart. So it's like, how about, you could probably do a tag match on one card, and then like on the next card you do like both of them are in singles matches separately.
Right. Yeah, that would be a good idea actually.
And depending on how you schedule it, you can build tension for, oh my god, are they going to break up here or will they break up here? That sort of thing over the next like those 2 weeks.
Yeah. So after that, Private Party and Matt Hardy seemed like they formed a 6-man unit over their love of tag team wrestling, and he told Private Party that you guys' bond reminds me of my bond with my brother, and a lot of people gave us advice, so if I can ever help you guys out, hit me up. And then he went outside, and then Sammy Guevara ironically was strolling by in his mobility scooter, and he said, "Sammy, we're cool, respect, man." And I don't know, it's just Matt Hardy, but I don't know where this is going. So
are they still? Are you still like? You think they dropped the Hardy compound match? You think they dropped it totally? Because they were trying to. Okay, because maybe that's what they were teasing. Like eventually they're still going to do that. I don't know.
I think that is going to be, I don't know. Then we had Colt Cabana and Chris Jericho. This was okay. Jericho ended up getting the win with the fucking juice effect. What else we had? And then he got on the mic pretty much. And QT was ringside with the bunny.
You forgot one thing. Your boy in turtleneck from Dark Order walked up on Cabana. And
that's right.
Offered that man it wasn't a mask, but he gave that man some paperwork. He's like, you might want to consider this. Maybe you should.
Get him in a flyer.
Yeah, that's what he gave him, a flyer. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was like something to watch, I would say. Then Jericho basically called out the baddest man on the planet, started running down Tyson, but he was answered by Orange Cassidy. So someone said this is a very Hogan-like move for Chris Jericho, seeing all the good ratings that Orange Cassidy is doing, and he was like, I want to work with that guy. So
Triple H-ian, yes, that
too. So some of that energy. So
if you'll, it's
Helmsleyism.
Top John Cenaism. Like there's lots of guys that do this. Lots of guys have done this. You're the top guy. You doing something a little hot. Let me go out here and like beat you before you get, beat you before you get too hot. Cool your jets, daddy-o. So yeah, their match is gonna be fun. Like Jericho's a damn gimmick, and Orange Cassidy is literally a gimmick. So I imagine like they're gonna have a funny ass match, and it'll work because Jericho makes almost anything work.
Jericho got his hands put in his pockets by Orange Cassidy, which was kind of funny.
Was that his all out gear or all in gear? All out gear, sorry.
That was his Revolution gear.
Okay.
So after that, we got Big Swole and Nyla Rose, and I liked this match. I thought this was very competitive, and I wanted Big Swole to get the win. I thought she was going to get the win, but Nyla Rose still showing she's got something left in the tank. She's probably going to get a rematch.
He's just trying to bury Nyla, huh?
What's that?
You just trying to bury Nyla, huh? Like, if you... Okay, so she's going to come up... She's not going to show up for these tapings in Georgia. Then she's going to show up, like, at the last minute with everybody else to get this pay-per-view done. Then she's going to drop the belt. And then the very next match, she's going to lose someone and they never ever feature on TV in matches. God damn, you just trying to bury Nyla.
I'm saying she could have... They could have got Swole up and running, but I guess Swole has something else going on.
I mean... I think obviously this is NXT. This is AEW, so like babyface is losing to somebody isn't the worst thing in the world, because eventually you can tell the story that this person eventually is going to get that big win. It could be the Sonata chasing Okada type of thing.
So before that match, actually, they played a tremendous video of Dr. Britt Baker and her road to recovery. She was in the wheelchair doing the rope gimmicks while working out. She is. Yes. Like just an absolutely phenomenal video. If you haven't seen it, I think they sent it out on Twitter, but just pure comedy. Total command of the room. Everything she does every week is just like, she's the best. Like,
I don't know if this was intentional, but Rich, we talked about this and laughed at this a lot last year. The 24/7 type of package with Johnny Gargano going back to the indie school that he worked at before he got to NXT to train for the New York Takeover match, and then on the other end it was Undisputed going to some like regimen workout facility that like looks like a place that trains like people that are going to the NFL draft. And it had Adam Cole working out by super kicking like foam targets or whatever else that were being thrown in the air to him by like the rest of Undisputed, and like them being in like a similar looking thing, and then like
looks like they were in a Jaguars practice facility.
Yeah, but it looks similar to what Cole was working with. So it's like, Is this the same place they got gym membership too, and they're both doing the gimmick shit? That's like, to me, that's why it made it funnier to me in my mind. I'm making up like head canon. Wow. But like to see her in the wheelchair and she's doing the weighted ropes and she's trying to like maneuver them, but like she's not doing shit to these things as far as moving them. And then like they hand her a weight and like it's a 10-pounder, so it's too heavy, so like she has to hand her Rebel has to hand her the 2.5 pound of her to do. Like she's a fucking wimp, a geek. Like it's just like she's just the worst. She's the worst. And then like she can't even she has no upper body strength, even though like it was her leg that got injured, so she can't go up the ramp with the wheelchair, and she can't go nowhere. And then like all of a sudden Tony shows up behind the trainer in Rebel, and then Tony, her personal muse, gives her the inspiration and the strength to roll her ass up to the top of the ramp. It was just like, God, she's just so terrible. It's by terrible, I mean awesome. Like, she's awesome, but she's awesome because she's such a shitty person and a weakling and a geek. But
I don't know what it is. It's amazing.
Like,
bro,
dude,
when
total
fans
180.
are back, oh my God, when fans come back, she's gonna be so. The first time that the doctor is here to see you now, music starts.
I think by the time she comes back, like there will be fans.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, you're right. It was gonna be a huge pop for a heel.
Yep.
A shitty heel.
Yep. And so Nyla ended up getting the win on Swole. Like I said, I like this match. Two black women on the show. So that was nice to see. So it looks like Swole is getting into it, picking back up with Britt Baker where they left off before the pandemic.
Yeah.
So look forward to seeing that. Swole got to talk at the end a little bit before. After that, Tony Schiavone interviewed Darby Allin, basically saying he's not cleared. He said, life's one big joke. However, Brian Cage, I'll get the last laugh. So Darby, the one-liners with that. And then Tony then sat down with FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler. So the Revival. So I've got the interview here. So I'll just go through it here a little bit. So they asked him, first question. Tony said, what does FTR stand for? And then, what's his name? Dax said, it was the dumbest shit he's ever said. He's like, it's a way of life for me and Cash. Now we're here in AEW. Pause, he said, right follow there. The rules.
Pause right there. That is the same bullshit that WWE speak that they give when they turn somebody that is a heel or babyface with a catchphrase and turn them heel, and they want them to keep the same catchphrase and the same gimmick because they're lazy, and they say, well, it's just a way of life. Like when EC3 was saying, I am in the top 1%, I'm a 1%er. When he turned babyface because he got so over with his interest in his music, he's turned that into 1% way of life. The way you look at it, like you have to feel like you're in the 1% of everything. You are the, like, more or less say you are the elite. It's like, that's so shitty. Like the boss, when they turn Sasha from a heel to a babyface, like, you want to be a boss in everything you do in life. It's like, get the fuck out of here. It's like, so go ahead, but go ahead.
They shot beyond the state of mind,
yes,
but that won't work.
Yes, Jericho did say that. Yes.
So maybe it's like it's infected,
It's trickle down nonsense.
So he said FTR stands for like follow the rules, which was like weird. And he says they're at the pinnacle of the wrestling revolution. Tony said AEW has the world's greatest tag teams, and Revival said, or FTR said, now they do, like as saying since they've joined. And after that, they mentioned all the tag teams in AEW they wanted to work with, and didn't say the Young Bucks, strangely. And then he's like, the dream match everyone's been waiting for is not a dream match to Cash and myself. We had to sit back and listen to Dave Meltzer, yes, Uncle Dave, getting shout outs on national television out here, sing their praises and say they're the next Midnight Express. Tony, do you think that makes us happy? That's what Dak said. Cash said he wants
yes. The answer is yes.
Right. Because that means you have someone you get to wrestle. Dak said he wants to punch him in the mouth, so he's like faking like he's going to shoot on the Young Bucks. And they actually did Cornette's podcast this week, which he's either Cornette's in on it with him as a work, like that was a whole interview to promote that match, or he's dumb and the Revival worked him and he thinks they're going to shoot on the Young Bucks. If they get out of line or something like that.
No. I think the thing is that, like, and we've seen this enough with Jericho or Cody and stuff, where like he doesn't like the elite, or he doesn't like the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and like the people that he has relationships with or whatever else. He will not shit on because he has those relationships with them, and he loves the Revival. So he's not going to show them. He wants to do stuff with them, like, and he understands that, like, yeah, he may hate the Young Bucks matches or whatever, they're what they stand for, or whatever else. But he understands that, like, ultimately, like, that's where those guys are, and he likes those guys. Can you help us out? Yeah, sure. Like, Cornette is, is stubborn and an asshole at times, but he's not stupid.
Yeah. He then said, Tony, when we beat them, I want you and your commentary friends to come to us and apologize and say that you guys are the best. We had to sit around for like 5 years and, dream about this or whatever. But I'm like, you just said it's not a dream match. So I was kind of confused by this promo. This promo didn't.
What year did Cody start saying fuck the Revival on BTE? Like 2017?
I think so.
It's 5 years. What?
Yeah, I think that was just like a rounded up type figure or whatever. So,
You know,
they
waiting for this moment for 15 years. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so like they said some things. This didn't necessarily come off as like the greatest. Like this wasn't them hitting a home run. I felt like they didn't really have too much to say aside from like where it's going. And it made me think, and I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter, like after the Young Bucks match, what else is there really for these guys to do? Should they AEW commit to them long term, or should they think about like a short term thing? Because apparently now they're working on a handshake deal in AEW at the moment while they negotiate for whatever they're going to negotiate. But if you're Tony, you're like, maybe I'm just in the dream match business for this one.
Maybe. I mean, they wanted, on the Jericho podcast, they stated that they wanted to do a bunch of stuff, whether it's Ring of Honor or NWA or, AEW or even Japan, I think they mentioned. So it was, I think they also mentioned Impact. So, once they showed up, like, I thought, like, I don't know if they're signed. It wouldn't surprise me if they're signed, but maybe they also are still sticking to that, thing of them wanting to work a bunch of different places because they can get a lot of dates. In this era right now, there aren't too many. I wouldn't really want to go to hopping around on planes a bunch, but whatever. To each his own. But maybe, I don't know, like, but I think that they would be a good fit. I don't necessarily, because the division's so deep, they can wrestle a bunch of different people. I think that the issue that kind of arises is, at what point are you going to have too many heel tag teams / factions?
Mm-hmm. So, like, for me, I would think you would have to put them in a faction with a singles wrestler, with another singles wrestler, like something.
Like, so who, for example, like, I mean, like, is there any good fits right now to come to mind? Like, I'm saying there's like Archer out there right now.
Archer's out there right now. Spears is out there right now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then, they're always saying Cody could join him and Spears in a revival. That's like a fantasy booking thing that I think people are hoping for, but, wouldn't bother me a ton.
Jim Promotions, their productions is not coming back. Stop.
We called them the JCP gang. I would definitely think about putting them with a singles wrestler so they can do like a trios unit. At least, because, as you mentioned, there's tons of tag teams. They're going to be fighting a Butcher and a Blade next week. So kind of right now, the Revival are baby faces, it seems like, or FTR. They're baby faces kind of. But I am kind of looking forward to Butcher and Blade and FTR. I like the Butcher and the Blade. I don't know why.
Do you think I gotta see their match before I say, like, I gotta see their match, see them actually work as an effective babyface team before I actually be like, yeah, this is what they're going for. Or at least, like, it seems like they just came in as free agents and we don't really know and they're kind of like playing it down the middle to like draw interest or be like, eventually we'll pull back the layers and show you what they actually are, which is going to inevitably be a heels that did backstab the Young Bucks. But whatever. I'm still interested to see the matches that they have because they're going to have good matches always. But like, as far as a promo and personality character standpoint right now, I kind of still feel empty.
Yeah, I think Matt Jackson is going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting here. So I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say to like build up on his side because I don't think the Revival is up for carrying the whole thing by themselves. Yeah. And it might just be a situation where just keep these guys apart till you do like a sit down or something. I don't know. They got to figure something out to keep it hot.
Yeah, like I want to see them commit towards a direction first, and then we'll finally be able to fully like evaluate where what this is or where they're heading or how they're doing. That's how I kind of feel. Like they just kind of showed up, and then they did this promo next week to kind of be like, "Oh yeah, we're here," and it's like there was nothing really more than that to me.
Yep. So they did an interview with Alex Marvez and Colt Cabana. Then Brody Lee interrupted. He said, "It's what you do after a loss, Colt. I can help you with that." And then he walked off. Then we got our main event, the Jungle Boy against the TNT champion, Cody. So the opening, the first match of the Cody Rhodes TNT Open Challenge.
It was a good match. However, it is after you say all that stuff about you want to prove the doubters and non-believers about, work rate or whatever the fuck he was saying
bell to bell,
bell to bell 2 weeks ago, whatever else, you proceed to have like your overbooked match, and it's like you couldn't have waited like 2 weeks. It immediately had to be the first match you're going to this nonsense, and then
just
like
a terrible blade job, obvious.
Yeah.
Just like I saw it, and I'm like, this motherfucker will never get it. And it just felt like a parody.
It's very frustrating because like the times that he has gotten it, those are like his very best matches. That's when he like, look, man, like it's really weird. Like it's really weird. He's like a person that's like he's like a sub 275 hitter that hits like 40 home runs. That's what he's like.
I was watching it. I didn't like this match. I thought it was like they did way too much as far as like the outside bullshit, the going through tables, and it was just like, why is this so why is it this life and death match right now? Like, why isn't
against the Jungle Boy?
Yes, like who the fuck is the Jungle Boy ever beat? Like, I understand that you have to have a main event match with him because like the time is scheduled like that, but like you're bleeding. Like, why? And we told y'all about this like a month ago. They're doing too much blood. They're doing like this shit that's not going to mean anything. Like, when it's time for somebody to get their fucking wig cracked in the fucking world title match on pay-per-view to give it that extra boost, that's just not going to be there. Why? Because Cody's fucking used it all up already. Just like when the Revival did their fucking did their pulling in with the truck. No, Cody did that the week before that. So it's like every fucking gimmick this guy can do, he's going to fucking do and use it all up because it's like hiding. It's him trying to compensate for something he doesn't have in the ring. And I'm fucking tired of it. Like, it's just like, it's a cancer that's going to spread on the promotion.
God damn, you called him a cancer. Jesus. I just
because
think
he's clearly in control of what he's going to want to do. And they were going to feed him Phoenix next week, but Phoenix is still injured. So it's going to be like, so it's going to be Mark Quinn now. And it's like, I don't want to see these, like, I have no problem with blood in wrestling, right? Like, it doesn't gross me out. Nothing. I'm not coming at it from that angle. I'm coming at it from getting the most out of it.
Right. Yeah, it's the same thing when you talk about like if you have 8 giants, you have no giants. Like if everybody's bleeding, then the effectiveness of the bleeding doesn't matter because it's the shock and awe and the rareness and specialness of it doesn't matter. Like, yeah. It's like if someone used your super finish like every 3 matches. It's like if John Cena did the top rope AA in like every 3 matches.
And this was the first one, James. It wasn't like, there's been 5 of these and then he ran into a really tough opponent or something. This was like 4 minutes into the TV match main event. Clock your melon into the fucking outside thing. Obvious camera cut, swing, come back, and all of a sudden you're just leaking from the top straight down. And it's like, the Matt Jackson blade jobs on BTE are more legit than this shit.
And didn't they blow off Pyro after the match?
Yes, this We Are the World bullshit, like, shaking hands with Jungle Boy and putting him over. It's like, fuck off.
Like
this fucking show.
Like it was some like transformative match that like got him to a level. It's like, no, bro, the MJF match did that. Like, there was no Pyro blown off for MJF on pay-per-view.
Right. So, like, we've seen MJF versus Cody, we've seen Jungle Boy versus MJF, and we've seen Jungle Boy versus Cody. I like the one that didn't involve Cody.
Yeah, I get that. I understand that. I feel that. Yeah.
Blowing off Pyro, coming to the ring, blowing off Pyro at the end is just like, we see who's getting all the energy. Like, this it seems like this is what they want to build around. This is what Tony is like. This is what's getting through to him. And we had a conversation about Kenny earlier this week, where it's like what he's being used for right now. And then,
ultimately, my thing was like, I don't know if I explain this well enough, but I was just like, for the most part, everybody that is like on major American television that has done New Japan pretty much is like in presentation and booking and match quality and like feeling like a star and like, you know, from a highlight perspective, they do their best shit in New Japan for most part. And like, you know, with the exception of like that I can think of notable exceptions of like Archer right now because of the way he presented immediately coming in, and Cody, like those are like pretty much the only general exception. You mentioned the Young Bucks as far as like that's kind of like even, and it's like okay, that's fair. But it's like a lot of AEW, a lot of my, you know, reasons of hope and optimism for AEW was that like it was going to be like New Japan America, like American version of New Japan / the Indies, and it's like I've gotten all the indie in like almost in little to no New Japan, and it's kind of like, oh, all right, like, and don't be wrong, like their booking and their storytelling is super duper solid. In fact, like I would say it's the best in America, but it's still this part of stuff. It's still this part that I'm missing, where it's just like, I wish these dudes would just like come out here and like wrestle the hell out of each other instead of like a million fucking dives with the young dudes. It's like, look, that's their style, whatever. But it's like all of their main event level dudes are dudes that can really, really wrestle. So it's like, if y'all want to get to this level, you're eventually going to have to either get yourself lots and lots of charisma to match, Chris Jericho or Cody, or you're going to have to learn how to, you know, do some Kenny Omega professional wrestling, and that's a real high fucking bar, and it involves more than just flips. So, like for me, when it comes to this Cody thing, or actually it came to the Kenny thing, is like back to Kenny. It's just like, well, look at Kenny. Like Kenny's like a lower main event utility guy right now, and it's like, if I were to cast a vote for most outstanding in-ring performer of 2020, it would be him. But like, he has two matches that were like, oh yeah, these are two of the very best matches of the year. When, you know, 2017 Kenny Omega, 2018 Kenny Omega, like through almost 6 months of it, or through basically like 5 months, he's on track for what, 5 of them, 5 of them, and it's like, obviously this COVID is in the way, but like New Japan Kenny would have like 8 of them things, and it's like, I'm getting it, but I'm not getting it at the frequency, and it's like, in a way, it's kind of like, look, man, I kind of just had this for like 2017, 18 AJ, or 2018 AJ, and it's like, I don't think he's fell off, or he's like working a safer style, like for God's sake, he's trying to kill himself in fucking TV matches all the time, but it's like, I miss Kenny reaching back on the gun and just putting 98 miles an hour on the inside of the plate. Like, I just do. Like, at the frequency they used to, and it's like, there's nothing wrong with what he's doing. Like, in fact, I commend him for being this unselfish, for him like doing this for Hangman, for all that stuff. But it's like,
that was my point.
But at the same time, it's like, when we talk about, like, I don't blame Raw for going to a third hour to make more money. It's like, great, I understand that. It's less entertaining though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I understand the considerations and the ramifications going into that in the thought process. And I understand why March Madness decided to put all their college basketball games on different channels at the same time or whatever, so you can watch whatever you want to watch. But it makes it like less interesting to watch when it's like, I can just, instead of watching like the very best of the shit. Mm-hmm. And that was my take on it. And like, I wasn't saying that to say that Kenny has fallen off, and I wasn't saying that to say that like AEW is some hellhole or some shithole. It's not. It's the best American promotion we have going. But it's just like, I kind of miss this, and I feel like while things are going great, I feel like some things are like suboptimal, and I feel like Kenny Omega is so valuable that I would rather not have him be doing quote-unquote suboptimal stuff.
Look, I'll say it. The promotion would be better if it was built around Kenny Omega. and him being the world champion and fighting off and having great matches on
and
top.
being allowed
like,
to be and being allowed to be a serious promo instead of like he never gets to talk, or when he does, he's like doing that fucking goofy thing with Nakazawa. I still fucking hate that to this day. That was like in November. Yeah, so like that's kind of how I feel about it.
I'm like, and then at the same time, how I looked at it was like, well, who else was going to do this role that they got him doing? Like, there's like no one. Like, so it's like, I mean, if they want to go ahead and push these Cody Wish make a wish main event matches or whatever, that's what Tony wants to do. Like, you're gonna lose like people like you. You're gonna lose people like me eventually. Like, it's like, okay, I see. I'm just biding my time waiting for it. Like, all right, like I'm enjoying it because like
it's still great. It's still great.
It's still great. So it's like, but it's like, yo, I know. Like I just feel it. Like, you can't convince me that Kenny Omega watches like that main event and is like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what are we doing here?
And another thing is like, it's not necessarily about it got brought into the Cody conversation because Cody's been like a big running thing like over the last few weeks, because like I really feel like
it's like all the creative energy
since they've beaten since he lost to MJF, like his just he's not where he was before like Full Gear, and it's just like he was just so fucking hot. He was just in such a like we hadn't seen a babyface that hot since like either Johnny or Becky, right? Like Johnny at the peak of his powers, like at the beginning of 2018 or beginning of 2018, or or really Becky. Just say Becky, and it's like they threw it away, and then like he's still great, but it's like he's doing this shit that's just like not is what gonna like. I don't know, like it's just. I haven't liked what they've done with Cody over the last, I don't know, since Archer showed up, really. Like, you had, Jake point out that he's whining after he lost MJF, and then, like, he has to bloody up, or Archer has to bloody up Dustin to build this thing, even though the whole tournament is building towards both of them eventually meeting in the final. And then like he wins the belt, which he should have won, because like if you may as well shoot him, you may as well take him out back and shoot him if he loses. And then like the very first match after cutting his all talking all that big shit, very first match he comes out here and that's one of these matches. It's kind of like, dude, this is a match that like it's okay, but like I'm never gonna want to watch this shit again ever. And like, then, like, is rewatchability what should matter? Probably not, but like that's the thing I mostly care about is like, I want to see a great match that I can point out to other wrestling fans. Hey, that was great. You should check this out. And maybe that's me being too hipster about it or whatever else. But like, I just want to see people like compete compete their hearts out. And then like, there's a winner and a loser, and the stakes from winning and losing matter. And like this blood and shit is not like that. Is not like that is fake drama. That's not real drama. Yeah. Like, if you do it that much often, it turns into fake drama. Like, obviously, the blood is usually always fake, but, like, if you go to it this often, then it just becomes like, oh, it's more trope shit. It's like, this is making it into a flat-out formula as opposed to, like, filling what the crowd needs or filling this needs it for whatever story you're trying to tell at the time. This was for a story. This is for a random bout. Random title bout.
And they've proven themselves to be
more
way smarter. More
considerate than this.
Like more like thoughtful in their storytelling than this. Like to allow it to like get bigger. And now he's facing Mark Quinn next week. Like Mark Quinn hasn't had a singles match in 3 years. I understand he's a replacement for Phoenix, but it's like, all right, let's see it. Like it's gonna be, like these just bum of the week matches. Like I thought this TNT title was like, on par with the world title. So we'll see.
And don't get me wrong, like he did a lot of at the beginning, he did a lot, or parts of the match, he did a lot of stuff that like worked with like the Derby match where like I'm so much bigger than this dude that I have to play the heel. And I think that honestly, like regardless of how great Cody was as a babyface in November, like in the ring he probably does his best stuff as a heel, because like when you're a heel and you do the shenanigans, I'd be like, okay, well, that's your thing because like the babyface is just better than you. But like when you're this inspiring babyface and all the shit is in your match all the goddamn time, it's just very exhausting. Cody has worn on me with this stuff over the last 2 months.
Welcome.
Yeah, I guess so.
Welcome to the island. You know, I've been on for a while, so but you know, overall, all right show. Like not like nothing blow away, I'd say. But
like, I probably would have to rewatch the tag match in the opener, but I thought it was the best match on the card. Like I don't whether or not I'll be give that 3.5. I don't know.
Yeah. What else we got?
That's really it, bro.
Yeah,
that's really it.
But yeah, so make sure you guys send us your Kente memes, all that shit, and yeah, anything newsworthy on Raw happened during the show.
No.
Oh, we're getting Asuka versus Charlotte now, apparently.
Yeah, and then Bailey and Sasha on commentary.
Okay, James, question for you. What wrestling move would you want to do to a racist?
What wrestling move I want to do to a racist?
Yes.
I don't know. Punch to the face.
Punch to the face. I'll go with the V trigger. I saw that was going around on Twitter, and I pulled the V trigger from when he fought Naito. So I'm showing you, James, here that you can see. I don't, everyone won't be able to see, but you can go to my Twitter and see.
Why don't you pull out the V trigger that Kenny and Meltzer line about that knocked out Evil in that 1G1?
I can do that one too, but I didn't find that one right away. So
okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're gonna be serious and like I don't know, like I don't know, some involving a slap or a chop, I guess.
So
like,
apparently
would be met with disrespect.
There's a WWE pay-per-view next week, Backlash. There's a couple things on the card.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Let's do that.
Let's rapid fire it. So, McIntyre and Lashley, kind of into it as a heavyweight match just on paper. I don't know anything about the storyline, but kind of want to see it.
Is this the Big E corollary?
No,
it's not.
It's well, like I don't know.
It's not big sweaty men slapping meat.
It is, but I didn't think of it like that. It was just like, that's an interesting matchup. Yeah. I'll check it out.
You can have your 5-star matches. You can have your 30-minute classics. Not me. I want to see big sweaty men slapping meat. Yeah, it's one of them.
Hey man, they could stand to do a shock title change here, and then have Lashley have that shit, and then get that shit back when the fans come back, so he can actually get a pop for winning the belt.
This is what I'll say. After watching Johnny Gargano win the title and having to drop it 2 months later, and watching Rhea win the belt in December just to lose it in fucking early April, I'm tired of baby faces. I'm tired of top baby faces in this company chasing out their belt for fucking ever and then losing it in short succession. Fuck off with that.
Yeah.
Moxley needs to hold this shit until November. I don't give a fuck. I'm tired of it. I want some joy in my wrestling. I'm tired of this shit. It's all about the chase and blah, blah, blah. No, like
chase these.
Yeah, like how about this? How about we have a top star win a belt and we keep focusing on him being over and we focus on having that dude doing something interesting while on top or her interesting while on top. Look, Mighty Watani, they figured out how to do that shit with Stardom. I would assume that if we still had in New Japan, they would figure out how to do something interesting with Naito. Why is it in America we can't figure this out?
Yeah, because everyone wants to be the NWA, like every promotion, They also have a 2-on-1 handicap match for the blue belt, Braun Strowman versus Miz and Morrison. So more goofy babyface champion shit. Braun Strowman completely ice cold, completely just this is trash. So Asuka versus Nia Jax for the Raw Women's title. Good God.
Just don't hurt Asuka. Just
don't. Jeff Hardy.
Asuka is literally the only reason why I turn on Raw ever. Almost. See, it feels that way. Like she's
Damn.
on like literally since WrestleMania. That's it. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to turn on Raw for? To watch like all these dudes like wrestle these like good but matches that aren't long, that don't get enough time to go long, and then like it ultimately means nothing because no one's gonna get over. Like, bruh, Seth Rollins lost at WrestleMania twice and became number one to contend to the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, I don't even see him on the card.
Where he lost because he's doing this thing with Rey Mysterio.
Ah, okay.
Like, Becky announced she was pregnant, and then on the main event of that show, he attacked Rey and then pushed him eye first to the corner of a steel step. And they've been doing this thing where they've been teasing and talking about like Rey possibly retiring for like 3 weeks now.
Sounds compelling. Can you sense the sarcasm?
Do you want to watch the Street Profits in the Viking Raiders? Do you want to see them? Do you want to see them play golf or play basketball or bowl or do? They did track and field this week.
Bro, I watched one Raw this year. The one I watched, I turned the show off during the golf. Right? Once they went to the golf. Yeah. So we got Jeff Hardy and Sheamus, and on with their drunk driving angle that they did on SmackDown, a couple weeks ago or whatever. This is goofy shit. Or Friday. Yeah, it was Friday.
So Jeff's out. Has the culprit been found yet that did this to Jeff? Are we still supposed to presume that like our babyface is a piece of shit like it's Sting, like after
Look, man.
Like Sting when he came out and proved that he actually wasn't the there was 2 Stings in '96.
Look, I don't like this. This ain't a good sign. I feel like
if Jeff comes back with fucking face paint. Never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. This whole card is like damn, the end of the 2010s. Is back.
How long ago was it was it last year or was it 2 years ago when Sheamus kicked out Jeff's teeth when Jeff was just sitting still and milled?
That was him. That was him. Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
Wow. All right. Yeah, so.
Wow. So check this out. They've got Edge and Randy Orton, McIntyre and Lashley, and Hardy and Sheamus. Is it like 2008 in WWE or 2009? Like, what the fuck?
Well, Sheamus should have been like 2009, right?
2008. He was in ECW.
Okay, so yeah, 2008. Yeah, it's just whatever, man.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Like it's just funny to see all these ones end up on this show.
There's a triple threat women's tag title match between Sasha and Bayley versus the Iconics versus Alexa and Nikki Cross, and it's like,
who could possibly care?
Yeah.
And then there's a U.S. title rematch, Andrade and Apollo Crews. Maybe they'll get a couple minutes here, and maybe they'll jump. That's your only hope.
That's your only hope for a classic match.
Oh, what do you mean, James? We got the one match that I haven't named yet. The greatest wrestling match ever. Edge versus Randy Orton.
That's fair. Given what I've heard about the match, I imagine they're going to have a great straight match. Will it be the greatest match of all time? Fuck no. But like, it's Randy Orton and it's Edge, and they tried apparently. So we'll see. I don't know what the finish is.
Look, I will cut a finger off if it's the greatest wrestling match of all time. Like, come on.
That like, what? Like, okay, so Amanda Nunes, her match, her fight at UFC, somebody put down at a sports book $1 million to win $160,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
They put up $1 million to only win $160K.
Yeah, that seems dumb.
It's Manny Nunes, and like, bro, like she beat. Okay, so the scoring for that card, because it went all the way to the distance, right? The scoring was 2 cards gave it 50-44, which means that Nunes won every round, and one of the rounds was a 10-8 round. It wasn't even that close. It should have been at the least 2 10-8 rounds. But whatever. Like, that's the kind of beating that Nunes put on old girl. Those are the kind of odds that you should give Edge and Randy Orton for having the best match ever. Like, or like
for not having it.
For not having it. It's like, look, you like, yeah. You want to bet? You want to win $160,000 that they won't have that kind of match? All right, put up $1 million. That's the kind of odds that they should be given. Like, it's not gonna happen. I'm not concerned about it happening. It's just stupid branding because they want to fuck with marks.
Yeah,
Whatever.
they want to fuck
fine.
with people.
Whatever.
Don't take this remotely serious.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm not even holding it against them. That's how not serious I'm taking that. Whatever.
Like, but
just
it's
have
funny.
A good match. Just have a really good match.
They did all this clout chasing, all this bullshit, and then they did an edited match. They lowered the rim for these niggas. Come on, man.
Hey, whatever.
So
I've been watching all of this NXT and Raw and whatever else, and like you can tell shit is edited anyway. So like, look, they didn't show Kyrie bleeding her fucking forehead off from last week.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not holding again. Like, if they edit it, good for them. Like, look, I wish they edited all the matches. I wish every match could be edited so they get the right camera angle and we can watch better matches. Quite frankly.
Oh man. Yeah.
You know who don't need editing though? New Japan. Stardom ain't got no editing. Well, I'll take that back. Their samurai copies do, but on Stardom World there is no editing. They just run the match.
Just run it.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's all I got. Look for what a show coming up.
Okay, so
sounds like a really bad show, honestly.
Sounds like.
Yeah. Hopefully Apollo and Andrade come through.
I can't remember the last WWE pay-per-view that happened where I was like, I have no interest in watching this whatsoever. Like, even when I was taking breaks, I'd be like,
Elimination Chamber?
Elimination Chamber.
Of this year?
I cared about what was going to happen with Shayna more. I really did.
Gotcha.
I really did, but like, because she's going to be Becky's opponent going to WrestleMania. But like, this is like, who could possibly give a flying fuck?
Yeah.
McIntyre versus Lashley. You've never done shit with Lashley in a.
Man, finally gets the world has to go to hell for him to get a WWE title match.
Pretty much. Like, I don't know. Like, wait, is there actually going to be a Street Profits versus War Raiders match?
It's not announced, but I would be stupid if there wasn't one.
It would be stupid. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's. I ain't got nothing else.
I think that's it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's in the show. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this. Be sure to tell the folks. One
more thing. Jeremy just started a weekly Dynamite preview column on Social Suplex. So if you guys want to check that out, go to socialsuplex.com. His first one just released on Twitter as we're recording this, so you guys will already hear this, late Sunday, Monday morning, whenever you hear that. But Jeremy is putting some out in writing.
Is he also touching on Dark or just Dynamite?
Looks like just Dynamite.
Okay. So shout out to Jeremy at Keepin It Strong Style. The carriers of this podcast network, also covering the best wrestling in the world. I'm jealous. I'm not jealous of the situation here where there's no wrestling for them to cover right now. We're covering old shit, but like when it comes back, I'm gonna be jealous of them. Like I said, be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using. Listen to this. Go check out. Want to sponsor the show, PowerSlam.tv. They have over 5,000 hours of footage from all over the world. You can use the code SoulSuplex to get your free month's trial. Check out ProWrestlingTees.com/SoulSuplex and get some official Soul Suplex Podcast Network merchandise. Check out our Discord. What is the link to Discord to our Discord, Rich?
You should see it. I think it's pinned to the Soul Suplex Twitter.
Yeah, and it's also linked into our description in this podcast. Also, check out the other shows on the network. This show, One Nation Radio, on Sundays or Mondays if we have to cover a pay-per-view, a Sunday pay-per-view. Keepin It Strong Style on Tuesdays, Mondays. Wednesdays, the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. Every other Wednesday, Grown Men Watch This Shit. Fridays, Get in the Ring. And on Saturdays, All Things Elite. Thanks for listening.
Peace.
Later. Okay, so I told y'all that we were going in later and all that, but late breaking news, New Japan had a press conference at 11 o'clock, and luckily I was still just bullshitting with Rich on the line while Asuka and Charlotte were killing in the main event until Nia ruined that, and we decided to watch the press conference, and lo and behold, New Japan is back, baby! So,
yes, sir.
Yes, so to celebrate and also drop some information for y'all to gather in the excitement of New Japan being back, we have with us Jeremy Donovan of Keepin It Strong Style. What's going on, Jeremy?
Nothing much, man. Just excited, man. New Japan is back. Just watched this press conference.
Yes.
Ready to get it rolling, man.
Look, the best part is, right, we are so like, look, screw what's his name? Oh my God, what's his name right now? Screw Nick Aldis in his talk about the pure fetishization, right? Rich, look, we haven't talked to, we just called into Jeremy. Jeremy has on a Queen's Quest shirt, and me, I don't know if you've seen this, but like as you can see, Jeremy, I have on my Io Shirai shirt.
Yeah,
like we're getting Pearl back. So where do y'all want to start as far as giving information and thoughts on it?
Jeremy, you watch it. You can jump it off.
This is your sport. This is your specialty.
Yeah, so started off, we had a Sugabayashi coming on there and just talking about, New Japan being gone for so long, and they announced that New Japan will be back on June 15th. They're going to be doing a special no fan show, part of the Together Project series that they've been doing on NJPW World. So it's going to be Monday, 7 p.m. Japan Standard Time. Special comeback event. The card will be announced that night by the ring announcer, so we don't know the card going into that. And then following up from that, they are doing the New Japan Cup. New Japan Cup will run from June 16th to July 3rd, with the finals taking place July 11th at Osaka-jo Hall. The winner of that will face Naito the next night in Osaka-jo Hall for both belts, and that will be this year's Dominion.
Yeah, man. I was very happy to hear the return of New Japan. They're starting with what looks like to be another New Year's Dash type show. It's like a surprise card. So who knows what we see on there? Maybe we see some outsiders even come in as New Japan. And I don't know if you caught that Dominion will probably be like with 1/3 of the audience there. Right. So that's going to be very important to see how that goes, especially like, gathering large audiences back together again. But very happy New Japan returned, and Sugabayashi looked very thankful for the fans that, kept their subscriptions going, and they've been through a lot. Like New Japan, they didn't fire anybody. They shut down quicker than everybody else. They did have some, they don't have a weekly television contract. Right. So they had a different situation than WWE or AEW had, but kind of still difficult in itself. And it looked like they showed a lot of restraint while they could have had these guys out there and being reckless. They didn't. So props to them for that. And, if anybody deserves to come back hard and strong, it's them.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm just so happy. Like, it's been really frustrating as someone that a lot of my favorite wrestling these days is coming out of New Japan and coming out of Stardom, and they just been effectively just hermetically sealed. It's almost, obviously we had the title defense for Naito against Kenta, but it's almost like to me as a person that parachutes in on the hot matches and the big shows, it feels kind of like, we got the new beginning and then we just shut the door after that almost. But I mean, I know it went a little longer after that, but it's been so long, and it's interesting to see some of the layout for some of the first round matchups though. To see, and also some of the matchups we have, for example, Saber and Ibushi, that's going to be great. Shingo in Show, which plays off of, last year's Best Super Junior stuff. Is Okada versus Gedo
yes. That's going to be a big rainmaker. 1, 2, 3. Squash them.
I can't wait. Yano's in something. It's Tanahashi and Taichi, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll go through the matchups here. So, like, one of the brackets, we got Yota Tsuji versus Togi Makabe. So, Jeremy, will Makabe take a bump in that match?
No. That match will be Yota Tsuji chopping Makabe, him not taking a bump at all, and then eventually body slamming him and doing the King Kong knee drop, getting that man out of there.
That's it. Then we got Desperado versus Tomohiro Ishii. Could this be the year for my dog Ishii? We put it together, get a Steel of Dominion main event real quick, We got Jado versus Yano. So that's full of shenanigans. Master Heater versus Yano. And then
does Jado get to come into the ring with the kendo stick or no? Is that frowned upon?
Bro, so Jado will probably be. You remember how they used to start the match with the weapon on the video games in the Nintendo 64? That's like how Jado got to do it. He got to start the match with the weapon, and then if he drops it, the weapon disappears.
And I'm guessing like Yano, like he's going to like. What if Yano like defends himself and shields himself from the kendo stick with one of those porn DVDs that he sells?
Anything is possible.
I miss New Japan so much that I don't even hate the idea of Yano in the ring.
that boy scratching. Then we got Hanma versus a new addition. Juniors are in, and not Will Ospreay. Hiromu Takahashi. So, Jeremy, what do you make of Hiromu's inclusion in this? Do you think it's like a red herring? Like we're going to get that match we didn't get at the anniversary show? Like there's a couple winners I see. I think he's one of them.
Yeah, so clearly there's a lot of foreign talent such as Will Ospreay and guys like that who weren't able to make it back in the country in time for these shows. Jay Whiteo, Juice Robinson, David Finlay, a lot of those guys, a lot of the guys not available for this show. So yeah, they're pulling in juniors, they're pulling in young lions, they're using all domestic talent. So I think that's the reason for pulling in Hiromu. And yeah, like you mentioned, Rich, Hiromu's definitely one of the winners here, and they could do the Hiromu Naito match at Dominion.
Yeah, and that would sell a lot of tickets and get people hype.
I mean, it ain't got to sell a lot of tickets, but like, it would
sell tickets fast.
Yes, let's say that. Very fast. Yes,
yes, that 1/3 is gonna be gone quick.
Yes. Look at this sellout capacity crowd.
I can't wait to be like, Naito only drew so much. That man even slipping as a draw now. What's going on?
Naito only drew 1/3 of the building.
They had this problem a couple years ago.
Oh man.
But the second night, so that'll be the Gato Okada match. We got which can he beat Gato and Gato not take he doesn't wear the headband anymore, but can he just wear the Kangol during the match and then lose with it on? Take the Rainmaker and he knocks the Kangol off.
There's about to be some real goofy shit. It really is. Like, okay, so what would be better? He beats him with quickly, or he tortures him and then he beats him. Which one would be better in y'all opinion?
I think he needs to torture him.
Okay,
grind him, stretch him, man.
See, I'm having flashbacks depending on what Fed has abused me in the past. Like, I'm thinking of like this is gonna be some John Laurinaitis, John Cena shit, where like Cena beats the shit out of Laurinaitis for forever, and then all of a sudden like, oh my god, Jay White is broken, the quarantine. He just came out here and just bashed in Okada's head. Like, I forgot what we're talking about. Forgive me. Sorry.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
Then we got Minoru Suzuki versus Yuji Nagata. Good, nice old man match.
Yes.
We got Yoshinobu Kanemaru against Yumura, Young Lion, and then Gabriel Kidd versus Taiji Ishimori on that second night. So Ishimori, another junior in there.
Excited to see him in there.
Third night, so we've got Taichi versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. That's going to be awesome.
That could be one of the best that could be the best match of the first round. Could be.
The next one might be.
Yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Kota Ibushi.
Yep, those are contenders. Those are definitely the contenders.
Sonata versus Taguchi, and then we've got Shingo Takagi versus Sho. So
that's another contender right there. So night 3, June 22nd. That's gonna be the hot night right there,
bro. Do you think they would like I don't know how the brackets are gonna break down, but like I am very excited at the possibility of a Shingo Tanahashi match.
Oh my god! I didn't even. Yeah.
these will all be empty arena. We didn't mention that, but they're starting there first. So
like eventually, anyway, when we get to G1, eventually, like some of the usuals in each block are going to have to be split up. So like you can see like a Shingo thrown into the A block, for example, like a Tanahashi thrown into a B pop potential. So like Shingo
can we get Okada to come roll with the dogs one of these years? In the B block?
That's what I mean. Like eventually, like one of these super ace motherfuckers is going to have to come out here and be out there in the B block in the thug section.
Yeah, because Okada ain't been in the thug section since 2017. He's been taking the light pretty section in the A block.
Yeah,
we know who keeps that murderer's roll going in the B block.
Yes,
it's like Ibushi, Ishii, Naito, like, and shit. Shingo was there last year, so yeah,
like
or Goto.
They brought in Shingo last year to like replace like Kenny, I guess.
Yeah. Then the fourth block, we got Tenzan. So Tenzan making a final go at it versus Yoshihashi. Bushi versus Yo. Evil versus Jeremy's guy, Satoshi Kojima.
That's right. My dog Kojima gonna beat that bum Evil. Get him out of there.
Hey, that is a Big E special.
Yeah, they're gonna be hitting.
Big sweaty man slapping meat.
Yes.
And then we've got Yujiro Takahashi and Hiroki Goto, the master of the New Japan Cup. Hiroki Goto, that is. Any shot in hell of Goto putting a run here together.
Well, they gave him a softball. They gave him Yujiro in the first matchup there. So I don't know. His bracket looks a little weak. So he might
he could break through.
Yeah, you can see him easily getting out of the first two rounds easily. Because, like, I mean, well, Goto and Evil or Goto and Kojima, like, that's going to be a great match. But, like, you can see Evil or Goto just, advancing. So, yeah.
And every one of these nights, there's going to be a special match that they did not announce. So, I don't know whether that's going to be a tag match. I don't know whether it's singles, but every single one of those nights is going to have a special match with it.
I'm assuming it's going to be something with Naito probably, since he's obviously not in the tournament. So maybe Naito versus somebody, Young Lion or some other guy that's not in this tournament. I'm not sure who that could be, but yeah, that should be interesting.
Yeah, we definitely got to get T-shirt Naito out there. That's what the streets need.
Oh, yeah. But bottom line, New Japan's bad. They're going to have like 7 shows to close out this month, and I'm pretty excited. It'll be empty arena, but like, I'm interested to see what they do with it.
Yeah, and we've talked about this on Keeping It Strong Style with New Japan. Like, I feel with them, like, also they're more sports-based presentation, and I feel it's going to be more similar to the UFC shows that have been happening in Jacksonville and Las Vegas, where it's all focused what's happening in the octagon. With New Japan, I feel like it's going to be all focused what's happening in the ring, and you're not really going to notice, for the most part, that you're missing the fans, because they're going to be slugging, they're going to be fighting it out with each other. It's not going to be pandering for the crowd, pretending a crowd's there and talking to a hard cam and all this nonsense.
It's not going to be any motherfuckers running into a wall and then turning around bladed.
I was going to ask, is anybody going to blade in New Japan? Is anybody going to, cut a promo on their opponent in the middle of the match loud for the hard cam? Is anything like that going to be going on?
Are people going to be beating on plexiglass around the ring?
But yeah, Gladys back, and they brought out Tanahashi at the press conference. Tanahashi was dressed presidential. He introduced himself like we didn't know who the fuck that was. Like, come on, Ace.
Right. Had the hair straight,
long. Looks like you've been growing it out.
Yeah,
looked fresh. Had a couple months off. Look, so who we got, gentlemen? Who we picking?
Well, I'm not giving my final picks yet, because I'm sure we're gonna break this down on Kiss next week.
Gotcha.
So I'll save my final predictions for that show.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, the Hiromu thing just seems so good that I want that match. I felt like it was robbed from me from the freaking anniversary show. So I'm gonna go with getting back to that match, Hiromu versus Naito. I mean, if they don't do it here, it's only because they plan on doing it later, because that's a match that's just box office written all over it.
Right, and both men have been teasing it throughout this quarantine break, and just I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, Hiromu said they should do best of the Super G1 and have he would win it, and then he would main event against Naito at the Dome.
How Shawn Michaels of him? I'd win, I'd go over, and then we can take it from there.
I would have absolutely no problem with Hiromu winning a G1. Like, I mean, it's probably too early for Ospreay. You can't go back to Okada and Naito this damn quick. Tanahashi, he won it 2 years ago. What are you gonna do? Are you just gonna give it to Ibushi again? He just won last year. Can't really do that. I mean, there have been repeat winners before. Like, what option do you have? They're never gonna do it with Ishii. They're never gonna do it with Taichi. Kenta, they just dispatched Kenta. Or not,
he's not in the tournament.
I mean, as far as if there were a best of the Super Juniors or Super G1, Hiromu would be a great option for that.
I'm going to take the Ace to win this New Japan Cup, and he was hinting at wanting the title match with Tanahashi, with Naito. He does have that fall over Naito that they did in that 6 person match in Lowell last year. Before the quarantine, he was, in our home area down here, doing the belt, thing, and we all know what that means, that he wants it. So, if it's Dominion, that's their first real big event. I think you got to bring it in with the Ace.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and that's a match that's been done before, so it's not like you're blowing a potential huge box office. I mean, obviously you can tell another story to get to it again, but yeah. So yeah, I think those are those would be the top 2 contenders that make the most sense. I mean, but then again, what if they mess around and say, all right, well, Sonata wins it or whatever else, and then it's Sonata and Naito. That's something that's like low stakes that it'd be interesting they could do too, and also you could be like tease on the fact that we all remember that photo shoot for that magazine cover where like everybody LIJ just belted with all the gold, and there's Naito, or sorry, there's Sonata, the freshest dress but butt naked with nothing.
Yeah, so the Ace rides again. So and we can get the IWGP title back in capable hands. I
kind of just want to see Hiromu win, just so I can go back to those memes they had of when he was crying and yelling about like, no, I don't want an empty arena match for this. I want people to watch me. Great. But yeah, Jeremy, thanks for hopping on to do this, man. Appreciate it. You want to get some plugs in, man?
Yes. So make sure you follow us at KI Strong Style on Twitter. Keeping It Strong Style will be dropping probably around the same time or shortly after this episode of One Nation Radio. We have Sir Sam from Wrestling Headlines / Lords of Pain talking about Shinsuke Nakamura and his 5 IWGP IC title reigns. That's a really fun episode. And then I don't know, next week we're supposed to have Rich on and talk about voting for one of the elite members, but we have a lot of New Japan Cup stuff and a lot of news, so I'm not sure what we're going to do quite yet.
We had to kick that down.
Yeah, Rich, if you're still down, we'll have you on. We'll break down all this news in New Japan Cup.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. I already plugged your new column earlier in the show. It's like what fortuitous turn of events here. So Jeremy has his the AEW Dynamite preview column. So make sure y'all check that out. He's here now. So, but yeah, wrap this bitch up.
Yeah. So, hey, Rich, real quick question. When's the last time we had Josh on the show?
Shit, it's been a minute. We keep One Nation Radio as black as we can usually. But,
this is my first appearance in quite some time too. So
yeah, we gotta get you back on.
Is there heat between Kiss and O&R?
It's like
maybe all we do is talk to each other all goddamn day. Yeah, there may be some heat.
You're exposing the business, man. We're trying to build a money feud here.
I had my little joke set up based off what I originally was saying, and Rich said, no, black supremacy. And I'm like, all right, well then I can't really say my joke no more because his joke is better than mine. I've been topped, so it is what it is. So I guess if y'all got anything else to sign off with, I'll say holla to everybody. Y'all got anything?
We miss you, Josh.
Team Jeremy. Later, y'all.